everyone, and welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. 'Tis I, Captain Logan, and joining me as always is my wonderful chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez. Hello, DJ. We also have
What's up, guys? What's up, everyone? There's a whole bunch of us here. Look at this.
I know. It's the original four horsemen of the apocalypse. We've brought the madness back, folks. So to my right is Brandon Grimm.
Hello to all.
And to my north is Dan Torrey.
Hey, everybody.
Dan, how you doing? Thanks for coming to the show on such short notice.
Yeah, of course. Everything's going well, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course, man. So tonight I'm very excited. This is like an event that I just decided was happening when I got up this morning. This happens sometimes. This is how I plan everything. It's just like, what's something that I could, exactly, what's something that I could make a big deal out of and pretend like it was planned that won't actually take any work to accomplish.
And then you immediately sell yourself out in the beginning of the video and tell everyone.
Yeah.
That...
No, of course. Yeah. The joke's on you guys. And like, folks still show up even after I tell them that. But anyway, so I got up this morning and I was like, well, there's not any like big major news this week I really feel like talking about. And the big news that happened last week, I dodged a bullet and nobody asked about. So that was lucky. Because the Thor Love and Thunder trailer dropped last week. And shockingly, nobody asked about it. So I didn't have to talk about it. And I'm mentioning it now. See, I don't have to say. I don't have to talk about it. I'm mentioning it now because tonight we're doing a Would You Rather show, and I still don't have to talk about it because, unless you find some way to word that within Would You Rather, I guess. But it's not going to open up in such a way where I have to spend 10 minutes talking about whatever that was.
You say that, but I've seen things go off the rails before.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have brought that up. So tonight we're going to do our sort of annual Would You Rather show. And this time the twist is we're going to find out what these guys on top of me would rather do between such and such that you guys come up with. So please,
I'm actually beside you.
So please make sure that each of your questions is in the Would You Rather format. So would you rather something or something else, or would you rather do something or something else, whatever it might be. We've done a couple of these before. This was an idea that DJ threw at us because I guess people have these kinds of debates online all the time. And I don't know, I guess it was like a year and a half, 2 years ago now, DJ was like, we should do a Would You Rather show. It was one of my favorite things we did. So we're doing it again, but now we're doing it with a whole panel of folks. If you want to make sure that your Would You Rather is answered on air, you can leave a super chat in any dollar amount, and we will make sure and talk about it. But if you can't do that, or you don't want to do that, you can leave a regular question in the comments, and DJ will throw as many of those at me as we have time for. So direct those at DJ Martinez or the welder or that guy who is wearing the headset. But he'll answer to just about anything. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get right into it, folks. DJ, why don't you throw us our first Would You Rather, sir?
Before I start,
yeah.
The chat started going crazy when we first started, saying that it's echoing a lot.
Is it really? I wish you'd interrupted me a lot earlier.
No, it's just me and Dan apparently that's echoing. So
that's what I figured would happen. Okay, so we're gonna have to.
That's why I just let you talk because I knew it wasn't gonna be bad when you were talking.
Well, we'll change our setup here. Hold
on. We came prepared.
Yeah, we'll just headset up here. Hold on. Everybody bear with us just a second. This is going to be the most riveting part of the show, I'm sure. Okay, we should be good.
All right.
Oh, hold on. Almost. Close but no cigar. Everyone. Okay, we should be good now.
Okay. Well, I wanted to ask this one really quick because it's appropriate.
Hang on, we're still not good.
All right, we're still almost good.
Oh, Dan's screen just changed size.
We are just not
Oh, did it change?
Look at that. We're in sync.
Momentarily. I don't think it's going to stay that way.
Oh, weird.
No, I thought we
going
could get away
on
without
tonight?
headphones tonight, but apparently not. So now 3 of the 4 of us are that guy with the headphones.
And
Yeah,
now-
and
We're the same size. What? Wow.
I don't know why that happened.
Apparently in Skype, if you plug in earphones, all the sizes sync up.
And now suddenly I'm finding myself wishing. Yeah, I don't understand. Now I'm suddenly finding myself wishing that we edited the show. It's going to be a wonderful minute and a half that anybody not looking at the screen is going to be like, I'm not listening to anything. There's nothing happening. Anyway, let's do a Would You Rather.
All right, Daniel Davis. Perfect for this group. Would you rather be a? If I could find the question, would you rather be a minion of Darkseid or a horseman of Apocalypse?
Dan, you field that first. Which of those bad guys would you rather be forced to work for?
Probably Apocalypse, because I don't know anything about Darkseid, and Apocalypse is awesome. So that's probably who I'd go with. But I don't know. Are all of Darkseid's minions just like the Parademon Flymen?
No, he's got people like Desaad and guys like that like have
that's right.
They serve Darkseid, but they have their own will and personality and such.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would choose to be an evil mutant because that sounds cooler than. Oh, Granny Goodness. That's one of them.
Granny
too. I don't want
Goodness.
to be a granny. So
Granny
I
Goodness.
choose to be a minion of Apocalypse.
You don't want to be Ed Asner as Granny Goodness?
I don't.
Oh. This is one of the most amazing casting choices of all time.
Right on.
Brandon, you're not really a comic guy, but do you have an opinion on this?
I would like a smaller, closer-knit group than a large. Like, I feel like
That's a great answer.
there's just like I don't mind big groups, but I like a closer-knit family. So
Yeah, just a squad, just a 4-person squad sounds
right,
pretty dope.
exactly.
Okay, so even if you were essentially mind-controlled, you'd still rather it be a small collective of 4
Sure,
than
you
a
know,
bunch
you
of
don't want too many people getting
than a
in the
bunch
way.
of people that actually still had their own thoughts in mind. I mean, you'd get tortured whenever you did anything wrong, but at least you could think for yourself.
Yeah, well, suppression either way. So
Plus,
I really appreciate all these super thoughtful answers.
I mean, if we're going by the movie rules, you can just hide off to the side of the battle if you're Psylocke and wait for everyone to die, and then you just run away and you're free.
Yeah.
Very true.
But Dan, you'd be so bored because you'd spend most of your time just posing for a picture that nobody took.
And I'd have a really risque costume.
Well, only if you were that character. There's 3. Well, okay, 2 of the 4. Because if you were, Storm didn't have a super risque costume, I guess. But
Yeah, actually, none of them died or anything happened to any of them. They all escaped free. They
Yeah.
just had to kill the leader, and you're
they
fine.
were all fine at the end. That's true. Which might have also been true with Darkseid's minions in the Snyder Cut or whatever, because we don't really see any of those besides parademons. I don't think
Yeah, true.
I mean, I guess the villain of that movie was well. I find that question difficult to answer because on the one hand, DJ was just going to move on without me even answering the question.
usually it's you forget to answer the question and you move us on, but this time it's the other way around.
Yeah, no, I was being polite and letting you guys go first. My name's in the title. I didn't even get to answer the question.
Sorry. If all 4 of us answer every single question, we're going to get through 5 questions. So I was just trying to move us along. But go ahead. Obviously, it's your show.
Okay, well, I'll do this very quickly then.
DJ.
So Apocalypse is very charismatic and is bombastic and hilarious, but I also think that voice could grate on you after a while, depending on which version of it was. Like, if it was the animated series voice, that would be fun for about 5 minutes, and then I'd be like, I don't know if I want to listen to this anymore. On the opposite side, Darkseid has no personality whatsoever. And again, he'd torture you every time you did anything wrong. But then, like I said earlier, Apocalypse wouldn't let you have your own wherewithal at all. And Darkseid kind of would, but would, make you kind of pay for it. So, I don't know. I find that to be a massive trade-off. Like, if I had powers of any kind and I thought I could get away from, Darkseid and Apocalypse and all that, nobody be confused. Darkseid's on a planet called Apocalypse, and Apocalypse is Apocalypse. So if I'm on Apocalypse, I might have a chance of fleeing at some point, and if I'm working for Apocalypse, he's doing all my thinking for me, literally. So, I don't know. I guess I'm probably picking Darkseid for the practical side of it. Anyway, moving right along. That was a great question. I like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Different styles of answers based on what we know about
Yeah,
these things.
yeah. You had substantive and then everything else.
Yeah, because I know nothing about DC, so that was great.
I really enjoyed that question once I got to answer it.
I'm sorry.
I'm just
Zing!
Go ahead, DJ. Thanks everybody for being here tonight.
Hey,
go
DJ,
right ahead.
just make sure Cap gets to answer the next one, okay?
What are you talking about? I'm gonna lead with every single one of them from now on.
You can leave me out. You know?
Go ahead, DJ.
I think this one was directed at Dan. Because it's perfectly fit for him. Blue Dragon 5, would you rather have Matt Murdock or She-Hulk as your lawyer?
That's great.
I guess it would depend on what kind of case it is. If I guess I'll go with Matt Murdock just because I like Matt Murdock as a character better. Not that I dislike She-Hulk. She-Hulk's one of my favorite Marvel characters as well. But I feel like Matt has a little bit more experience than Jennifer does at this point. So I'll go with Matt.
Yeah, that's a fun question. Thanks for getting a lawyer question in real early for Dan. That's great. I thought I was going to have to catch up Brandon. Those are both characters Dan likes, and he's a lawyer.
No, I figured that out.
Oh, good.
I liked his answer.
Yeah, that was a great answer. I don't know enough about She-Hulk, and I don't know what kind of law she tends to practice as opposed to Matt Murdock, but I assume, for the sake of comic drama, Dan, they probably both do, the big high-profile type cases, right?
Yeah, she does some criminal law, too. In some stories, she does other stuff as well. Matt Murdock is a little bit more experienced in that he's been both a defense attorney and a prosecutor at various times in the comics, so he knows, both sides of the equation, I suppose.
Is she usually a defense attorney, or does she also prosecute? I'm not sure what side she usually goes.
I think she's a private attorney, so when she does criminal cases, she'd probably be a defense attorney.
A defender, yeah.
Most of the time.
Okay, interesting.
Dan, may I ask you a question? Yes. So, with you being a fan of these characters, are either of these characters or both of them any sort of reason why you went into law, or do you like them because you're into law?
Yeah, I mean, Matt Murdock was always one of my favorite characters, and I didn't choose law just because I like the character, but it was definitely I think every lawyer has that kind of lawyer show or book or something that they read when they're young, and that kind of gets them interested in it in the first place,
Sure.
So yeah, I think that's definitely a part of it. But one of the things you learn from being in the profession for a while is law doesn't work the way that it's portrayed in almost anything in fiction, because most people who are writers don't know anything about being lawyers. So,
and a lot of professions are like that. Police is like that.
Yeah, and law can be a particularly dry and, for lack of a better term, boring profession. It's not like you can be in a courtroom and the Punisher starts screaming his head off, and then you can go up to the judge and fight him or something. It doesn't happen in real courtrooms. So.
Right. Okay.
Even in the less dramatic stuff, they just break the rules of procedure all the time. Evidence that they break the rules of evidence to evidence that is inadmissible is admitted, and all that kind of stuff. So.
And honestly, even if you take just a little bit of, I don't know, law in college or high school, even if you've ever done a mock trial, you start to realize how much stuff is just made up that you couldn't actually get away with. You don't even have to go to law school to see some of how that's wrong, right? As soon as you read about it at all, or go to a real trial or something, you're like, oh, that's not how it works at all.
Nope.
This is boring.
I've been watching some of the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case just because I'm a nerd and find those sorts of things interesting. But if you'd like to see, one of the things that is particularly interesting, I think, in that case is just the amount of objections that the lawyers throw at each other when they're asking questions.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's every, like, third word someone says they object to something. It's ridiculous.
Did I hear that the one lawyer objected to something he asked?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how did that go down?
I haven't seen the video, but someone posted an article in our Discord chat about it, and I was cracking up because that's just awesome.
That's insane. Like, he's so used to objecting to things that he asked his own question. He goes, objection, hearsay, something like that. And I'm like, are you freaking serious?
Yeah.
Dan, I'm going to write a comic book about a lawyer that practices intellectual property law. That'll be riveting.
That has to be one of the most boring comic books of all time. You're just sitting in a room pushing papers, really. I mean, you can be a courtroom intellectual property lawyer for sure, but the subject matter is not particularly salacious like it is being a criminal lawyer. Being a criminal lawyer is one of the most difficult jobs in the legal profession, just because of the people that you're dealing with for clients. They're usually people who are in high amounts of distress, and many of them are not known for their forthrightness and their honesty. So not that everyone's like that, but that's just kind of like, someone that is on the wrong side of the law. They're there for a reason, and it can be hard to kind of reconcile not just working with them, but also your own morals. Like, am I being complicit in this person who committed a crime getting off? Those kind of things. So
that's why I wouldn't want to be anywhere near there. That would freak me out. Where I just wouldn't even be sure if I was violating my own codes sometimes.
How do you defend like a murder suspect where the evidence is like known to be absolutely conclusive?
And why can't people understand that everybody deserves a defense, even if it's really hard to defend?
They're serving their constitutional duty to provide every person accused of a crime with legal defense, which I can understand, but for me personally, that's not a world that I want to live in. I mean, just seeing that kind of stuff every day would be very difficult.
Oh no, I don't do that either. Yeah,
I'd see some stuff.
Well, I don't mean that it makes it okay to be underhanded and make up stuff and like win at any cost. I'm just saying that at least like public defenders and stuff, like to immediately vilify a person just because, regardless of how exactly they're defending, just for defending somebody that probably did it. It's like, well, yeah, but that's how the law works. Everybody deserves it. Somebody has to do that job.
Yeah, especially at the outset of a case, you don't even necessarily have all the evidence in front of you. So you don't know much when the person walks into your office. That comes after all of the discovery process. So.
But Dan, the reason I want to write a story about intellectual property law is because that side of the law is so vague. I could make up anything and get away with it.
Yeah, it's very discretionary. I took some classes on intellectual property law when I was in school because my school kind of specializes in that area of the law, and it's a mess of sometimes contradictory cases that are hard to understand. Copyright law was the class I took.
I'm not defending crime. Am I wrong though? Isn't that how due process works?
Your right to trial.
Everybody has a right to. Yeah,
absolutely.
Chewbacca's lover. I disagree with Cap. They don't I can see you having the opinion that they don't deserve it, but I just mean that's how the law. That's how due process works.
Rights.
That's your God-given right under the law. I don't know.
Chewbacca's lover. He doesn't like human rights, folks. He doesn't like it.
So speaking of dramatized lawyer stuff, one of my favorite movies is The Client with Susan Sarandon. I really like that movie. Probably not how any of that would ever go, but it's a good movie.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and try to knock some more of these would we rathers out.
Would you rather?
Would you rather? All right. Would you rather wake up in an episode of Smallville or in Batman 89?
Ooh.
Oh, see, that's tough. Because 89 would be more dangerous, but Smallville would be more irritating.
But don't you feel like
Well, actually, Smallville would also be really dangerous. What am I talking about? It depends on... I'm sorry, I've got the perfect answer. Are you ready?
Okay.
It depends on my age.
Okay.
Because
True.
if I wake up and I'm 50, Smallville.
Oh, really?
fine.
Yes. But if I wake up 14, hell no. Because I don't want to go to that high school.
Oh, yeah.
Their death rate is really, really high. Like,
Gotcha.
like the chances of my getting murdered by a cryptofreak are like so up there.
Yeah, but what are your chances of having your parents killed as a 14-year-old in '89?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we know about one.
Yes, but I'm 92% sure you're Batman.
You know what I mean?
Cap, it's like it's like going to the world of Harry Potter, but
Just because I wake up in that world doesn't make me the protagonist, though.
No, but I mean,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, DJ.
if you go to Hogwarts, you're kind of screwed. But if you go to any other school, you're probably fine.
That's a good point. Yeah. Exactly. Well, and he did just say world of Smallville, not town of Smallville. So if I could wake up in the world of Smallville, but I'm in like Connecticut, then maybe I
watch
go there.
there be like a Smallville, Connecticut.
Yeah, Smallville,
It's
Connecticut.
just as bad.
That's a super fun question because those are both things that I obviously I've spent a lot of time with and like to some degree. But 89 I have less of a love-hate relationship with, even though, that story doesn't make a whole lot of sense by the end. But Dan, do you agree with this? I don't feel like the world of 89 seems quite as corrupt and violent as some other Batman worlds. Like, they talk about it like it is, but it doesn't seem like quite as bad as like the Gotham in Dark Knight, or especially the Gotham in the Batman.
Yeah, I think that stuff just isn't really the focus in those movies as much. So it doesn't feel as grimy, I suppose. I would probably go with 89 because I think Smallville's boring.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair.
At least is a visually interesting world. And it wouldn't be populated with 30-year-olds that are in high school. I mean, it would be kind of fun.
Well, you put it in video game terms, in which world would you rather explore on foot? And then you have to say 89 at that point.
Yeah, definitely. Because, I don't know, I've only seen the first 2 seasons or so of Smallville. And I don't know if it gets, more interesting later on in terms of locales and stuff like that.
Well, not in terms of locales, certainly.
No, they basically have the
is
same
there
sets for every
Metropolis?
episode.
There is, and the back half of the show is almost all in Metropolis, so they should have changed the name of the show, but they didn't. So it's called Smallville, but by season 6, we're mostly in Metropolis. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's more interesting if you prefer a big city, but you heard it here first, folks. Dan doesn't like things that take place in small towns. He's against small town America.
Well, I live in a small town. Well, it's technically a city. I live in the capital of New Hampshire, so it's it's a small town that pretends to be a city, really.
I'd say
generally small towns to cities in general.
I was
but
just joking.
Smallville is just like watching paint dry.
Well, it's a rural Kansas town.
Yeah, I grew up partly, Dan, in a town that's as small as Smallville is supposed to be, and that they kind of talk about it like and pretend like it is, because Smallville in that show is actually, and I'm not just saying like what it's portrayed like, I mean by the population number on the sign, it's the size of that Lawrence was when I was growing up there, and Smallville has to be, and I've talked about this before, but has to be situated somewhere around Lawrence because of the way people talk about it, and there's a line about a KU frat prank. So they're close to Lawrence, which is where KU is. So they've got to be 15, 20 minutes from there. There are a couple small towns that Smallville could be real close to. And those towns are like 7,000, 8,000. And they talk about Smallville like it's a town that small. But the population on the sign is like 42. That's not a small town. No. That's a small city. And I don't know how big your town actually is, Dan, but I've been there, and that looked like a small city before a small town to me. That looked like population like 25, 30,000 maybe.
Yeah, possibly. I'm not sure what the population is. It's a good question, actually.
You got to go to 15 before I can call you a small town.
Yeah. And I don't mean necessarily like towns that are the size of Smallville, I think, are boring. I just think the show is boring. So I wouldn't want to live in that world.
I mean,
look, I'm not going to defend it.
He has a whole other show where he defends it.
That's not entirely what happened on that show. Yeah.
I already feel like I wake up in crazy Kansas because I wake up in crazy Kansas, so I'd like to give 89 a try.
Oh, sure.
Just because I've never been to New York, and I think that, Gotham, New York, obviously the parallel there, but I think Gotham would be awesome to try out for a while, so I'm down.
But Brandon, this would be Canada disguised as Kansas.
Right?
That's true.
Yes,
That makes it even worse.
exactly.
That would drive Brandon insane because he'd be like, why are all these Midwesterners saying sorry? Stop it!
Yeah, yes. Indeed.
I love that question. Let's move on.
All right. We got 5 super chats have already come in. I think maybe 6 now.
Thanks
I'm
so
gonna
much,
jump over to
everybody.
those. Thanks, guys. TH1, would you rather Twitter or Facebook? Great show, guys.
Would you rather Twitter? So, like, would you rather make a tweet or post on Facebook, or would you rather just do something on one of those platforms? I don't know. I would rather Facebook than Twitter, I suppose.
Same, which is why I only have a Facebook and not a Twitter.
Yeah, I don't use my Twitter anymore at all.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I forgot
I've
you
never-
had one, actually.
I've never had
Dan?
a Twitter, so I don't.
Oh, sorry.
I would never Twitter. And I use Facebook to like update my family on my kids and stuff because I never see my family because they all live in Pennsylvania.
I'd probably go with Facebook, but I also think both of them are wretched hives of scum and villainy, so I don't really like either of them.
I agree.
It's
The
very
point
true.
Of would you rather? You have to pick the hard. Make
Let
the
me
hard
say,
choices.
yes, but there's nothing wrong with saying, look, this is a lesser of two evils situation. I have to say, I rely on Facebook, even though I agree with Dan. Like, that's the unfortunate thing about social media, right? Is and just the technological world we live in, the digital world we live in, where in order to operate in society now, you kind of have to pick your battles, and you may sometimes be forced working with stuff built by companies that you have fundamental huge issues with and that you feel like you're part of the problem, and even just carrying around a cell phone sometimes I don't feel great about, you know what I mean? So it kind of sucks that if you're gonna live in that world at all, you're gonna have to make compromises. And so Facebook I rely on to keep in touch with people, and I know a lot of people still have that. It's becoming more and more outdated though. I mean, there's a lot of people that have just moved entirely over to Instagram. I don't have one of those. I've never looked at it. I don't know anything about that website. I'm an old person apparently.
I have one, but I hardly ever use it.
DJ built us one for Geekvolution. I think I have the sign in for that. I don't even know if I can log into our Instagram. I've never used it.
These days you can link your Instagram because Facebook does that whole thing, and so when you post to Facebook, it will automatically post to your Instagram.
Well, same thing with Twitter too. And when I used Twitter, I just posted on Facebook and the tweets went to Twitter. Like I never really used it. Really, I don't think. But yeah, so I'm still sort of stuck using Facebook, and like a lot of people, I still use it for Messenger more than anything.
Yeah. Well, that's the only way you and I communicate. Aside from in person.
That's how I talk to DJ. There are a few people that I used to talk with Facebook all the time, on Facebook all the time with, like Dan, that we've kind of moved to Discord, just because we're in Discord all the time. But yeah, if it weren't for Discord, I would still be probably 100% on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of that.
I've had my Facebook for so long.
I just feel like Facebook is like
here.
old people yelling crazy things into the void now, and Twitter is young people yelling crazy things into the void. So I just don't. It's
I'm so
healthy
glad
for
you
me to
said
just
that.
Not be on
And
the
Instagram is people posting workout videos and
Yes.
vacation photos. So there you go.
Okay, but that at least sounds benign. Like, can we go back to the days where Twitter was just, look at the sandwich I had?
Yeah.
My Facebook is basically an open diary and scrapbook of my life to anybody who wants to look at it.
And do that. I recommend it highly.
I read random stuff. It's quite entertaining.
I mean, I post anything and everything that comes to my mind generally.
All right.
Tom did clarify in another super chat. He meant to type "buy" Facebook or Twitter.
What?
Very topical. Very topical,
Buy
Tom.
them.
Oh.
Would you rather buy?
Okay, but we just had an
I'd rather
entire
buy
conversation
Facebook.
about which one we'd rather use. So, I don't know. Very, very quickly, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would rather have to own Facebook than have to own Twitter. Because, Dan, I would rather be in charge of the cesspool of old people than the cesspool of young people, I think. Boy, you couldn't have articulated that better. I want that on a t-shirt. Like, it's so correct. It's just true.
Yeah.
So what? Facebook, cesspool of old people yelling into the void. Twitter, cesspool of young people yelling into the void.
It's like a front and back situation. It's like
Yeah,
a
okay.
half dark blue, half light blue shirt.
Yeah.
Right. The next Geekvolution
I would
shirt.
probably rather buy Facebook because they're a bit more of a diversified company. So Twitter's just like a social media platform, and Facebook is a social media platform. They have Oculus stuff with gaming, and they're going to create the virtual reality that will create our dystopia. So owning that will,
Yeah, but Facebook alone does more than Twitter does.
Well, if you owned it, you could stop it.
That too, yes. Very true.
All
So
right.
probably Facebook of the two of those, I would say.
Moving right along. Thanks for the super chats, Tom.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Senior Sticks.
You might want to read them over before you post them. But,
Just a quick once over. Would you rather be forever bald, Lex, or blind, like Daredevil?
oh, bald.
Forever
easy.
bald.
Easy.
Of the week.
Who would pick blind? I'm sorry. This is going to sound so awful and mean. I just want to know who is that vain.
Who loves their hair that much that they would rather lose their sight permanently?
I might know one person like that, but really, like, I don't know. I don't really need my eyes. But and then
I
that's
couldn't imagine giving up my eyes to get my hair back. Like, no,
Don't
just
take the
no.
hair.
also
Take the eyes.
In fact, my eyes are my best feature.
how hilariously ironic is that? Where like so you feel like your hair is so wonderful and coif or whatever that you got to hang on to that.
Your hair better be able to see.
But you're losing your eyes, so you can't even see the amazingness that is your hair and make sure that it's the way you want it to be anymore. What is the point?
You just suffer bad hair days for the
Greek
rest of your life.
mythology.
I'd rather be
That's great.
blind.
Yeah.
It sounds,
that's not even
it sounds like a
competition.
monkey's paw situation.
Question is amazing.
That's an amazing question. Thank you, Senior Sticks. That's the best $2 you've ever spent.
You don't have to take my word for it. Okay, go ahead.
T-Edge1 again.
Hi, Tom.
$5. Would you rather watch on loop the trailer for Love and Thunder or Ragnarok?
Oh, I guess Ragnarok, because I saw that trailer and thought that movie might be good. And then I could just like put myself back in the shoes of back then. You know, if I had to watch it on loop, I'm sure I could become insane enough where I'd go, maybe this movie is gonna be good. But if I had to watch Love and Thunder over and over again before the movies come out, I'm like, they don't even look like they have enough footage to put a trailer together. The movie's coming out in 3 months. What is happening?
Yeah, I would definitely choose the Ragnarok one as well, just because it has footage of the Hulk in it, and it also has a Led Zeppelin song as the song in it, and I like Led Zeppelin much more than Guns N' Roses. Led Zeppelin's one of my favorite bands, and Guns N' Roses isn't like terrible, but I just like Led Zeppelin a lot more, so I would definitely pick that one.
Well, and the Zeppelin song feels like it goes with material. I couldn't tell you why the Guns N' Roses song is even in that trailer.
I think it's because they're gonna do the 3 eras of Thor thing from Jason Aaron's run in that movie. He'll be like, young Thor, like Sweet Child of Mine.
Oh, I
and then
see.
he'll be Big Thor and then Old Thor.
Okay.
So. But he'll be a dumb butt the entire movie, so I don't care.
Yeah, no, same here. It's like so they're going to see, now you're making us talk about this. I knew somebody would do it. Now, so you're going to the other Thor run that I really like, and probably kind of butchering that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I always say this, the movie hasn't come out yet, but, I know who's making it. They're selling it on the same kind of comedy that we did last time around. If it's gotta be just kind of a straight-up farce, could we pick material that wasn't, like, heart-wrenching and devastating when I read it. You know what I mean? Like, just go to different material. Don't go to any material. Don't adapt anything. Just make everything up from the ground up. Like,
I think I agree with you. Don't adapt anything.
I could respect that to some degree. No, I'm with you, but I mean, like, I could at least respect to some degree, okay, the thing you made is just not for me, but it feels like, I don't know if manipulative is the right word, because, like, the first time around, it seemed like this, a desperate move that worked somehow. I've always seen it that way. And I know a lot of people like that movie, and I'm sorry for stepping on your toes, but this is just the way I look at it. Because when I saw that initial trailer, as we were talking about that trailer, I went, okay, this looks like it could be fun, and they're kind of pushing into the comedy a little bit, but it also could very easily be, well, Guardians worked, and we haven't really figured out the Thor movies, so let's just do what worked with Guardians. And then it is exactly that, except it didn't, marry the material and the tone right. It was really kind of tonally uneven, and so, because, like, I love Guardians as a comedy and a drama. It blends those things really, really well. I think that movie is spectacular. I gave it a 4 when I did the rewind, and if you had to lean into that, you could have been a little bit more delicate with it, and so. This, of course, maybe the same guy, looks like more of the same, and it also has to do the same thing in adapting material, where before we did Simonson and went, let's go with the material, and we knew they'd go there eventually, we're gonna destroy Asgard and make Thor lose his eye and everything, and we'll make the whole thing this giant farce with, like, the worst possible things happening. We'll take this character to his, like, lowest point, while simultaneously laughing about it. And, like, it didn't work at all. And this looks like it's going to be exactly the same thing. Like Gore the God Butcher, that stuff is terrifying. I don't want Watiti to be dealing with that material.
I agree. I mean, I'm not seeing any of Marvel's movies anymore at all. So I have divorced myself from caring at this point. But I hope that the people that those movies are made for enjoy it, at the very least.
Yeah, and I'm to a point where I'm not engaged anything like the way I was, and, like, MCU has had some things recently that I've liked okay, but, like, overall I'm just not invested like I was, and at the moment I'm still seeing at least the movies, because, this is what I do. I see superhero movies and I talk about them, but on the TV side, I'm getting real kind of burnout. And I'm trying with Moon Knight. I can't get into it. That first episode I thought was okay, and then I've seen 20 minutes of that second episode. I just can't get into it.
I really like Moon Knight. That's like the first thing that they've put out in a while that I think has any sort of creative integrity. And,
I'll finish it. And I don't know. I'm just not engaged with it. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, that's like the one thing that Marvel's putting out that I will finish watching, and then I think I'm just going to not watch anything anymore. I'm kind of done at this point, but I hope that other people enjoy it. I don't mean to ruin anyone else's fun. That's just where I'm coming from.
Well, I didn't mean to put a spotlight on you, Dan, where you had to reveal that if you didn't want to, but.
No, not at all. I just know Marvel fans are very loyal, and they get mad when people don't like what they do. So I just want to have that caveat.
Well, to anybody that feels that way, just remember, Dan jumping ship ain't gonna hurt their bottom line in any way whatsoever. It's not like they're gonna stop making those movies for you because Dan Torrey doesn't like them anymore. I mean, we've gotta let people make their own choices about what they want to spend their time doing and what they want to spend their money on.
Yeah, and I mean, it's unfortunate. I personally think Marvel's ruining the film industry, but, they'll continue to keep steamrolling everyone. It's going to happen.
I don't disagree with you. I feel the same way about, like we were talking about with Facebook and Twitter. It's like, I can't even say lesser of two evils. There's not even two evils there. It's just, I can either see these things and talk about them or not do that, I guess. Like...
Yeah, it's just like really sad to me when you see things like, real works of art like The Northman not make their budget back, and like the latest Marvel film will make enough money to end world hunger, even regardless of the quality. You know, it's just sad.
Well, I think we're going to need to move on. I think but I'll say this real quick. I think it's sad that the theater industry, Dan, is in a place where we can't put out anything but, for the most part, big popcorn movies and have them perform, because some things that aren't that, but and even some action stuff, we just can't get enough people to go see. Some things still take kind of a big budget to make, and you want those things to be able to be in the theater. On the other hand, if I'm filmmakers in studios right now, I'm just not even bothering with the theater system. It sucks that you have to do that, but I think it's taking some creators and studios a little bit too long to realize where their potential bread and butter is right now, and they're losing money until they figure that out. And hopefully this whole thing down the road just kind of blows over, where the superhero and I hate that I'm saying this, because obviously I love superheroes and I love superhero movies, but it shouldn't be everything. And my hope is that at some point we finally have the bottom drop out on this, and maybe some other things people get interested in it again, and you can finally start taking other kinds of movies back to the theater again. Until that happens, though, take it where people will watch it, so you're not losing money on it.
Well, yeah, and I just want Marvel to the Marvel Empire to collapse, because you look at what happened with DC, their plans didn't work out at all, and they were forced by their failures to actually make real movies made by people who are passionate about the projects they were making, and rely on quality to win people back. They didn't have goodwill of their brand loyalty to rely on. And I don't know, my favorite superhero things in recent memory have been the Batman, Peacemaker, and the Joker movie. They're all DC, and I'm a Marvel fan. I'm way less of a DC person, but those are the things that have actually told stories and had character arcs in them and resonated with me, and not felt like cynical corporate trash, really, to me. So I hope that happens to them, but we'll see. I doubt it anytime soon. They just seem to be going along. Feige's planning the next 10 years.
Well, he'll have at least 10 years at this point, Dan, because that last Spider-Man movie made enough money to, probably fund the next whole phase.
Yeah. Yep. But that's my piece on this. I won't make anyone else more mad than they already are.
Real quick, the sad thing with DC, because I totally agree with you, I just wish the remnants of the DCEU would also fall apart, because for every one of the movies you're talking about, you get two more really awkward throwback pieces to a universe that kind of feels over already.
Yeah. Yeah, Aquaman and Wonder Woman are the two lingering properties that have been relatively successful from that universe, and
Shazam,
and Shazam too. Yeah,
of
the
which
is pretty fun.
Yeah, and I like that. Okay, I just wish it was somehow not connected to DCEU, and I mean, maybe it won't matter, because it didn't matter too much with that movie, but.
Yeah,
it still makes things awkward when they bring up anything. You know what I mean? You see a picture of Cavill and you're like, we're still saddled with all of this.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see Aquaman 2, because at least Wonder Woman 2 had nothing to do with that universe at all.
Well, that's true.
But let's get back to...
But I like their take on that character more than I like their take on Aquaman, even though I didn't love 84.
Yeah. Should we do a Would You Rather from Thomas Lowe? This is a fun one.
Sorry. The way you started that, I thought you were gonna ask us which person we wanted to hear from.
Would you rather
a question from Thomas Lowe or this guy?
Or this person. Way to mix it up there, DJ.
Senior Sticks has a great one. But first, Thomas Lowe, would you rather have your power come from being developed from bitten by something, or a radiation accident?
Definitely a radiation
Definitely
accident.
Bitten by something, right?
Really?
Both in the case of Peter Parker.
Well, wouldn't it? Yeah. So when you say radiation accident as opposed to the spider bite, yeah, it's weird that you said that because they're both radiation things. But I assume you meant like you like doused in radiation in some way, like well, that sounds really
like Dr.
painful.
Manhattan?
At all. I mean, there's tons and tons of them,
right?
And if I get, first of all, every like including crazy things like Toxic Avenger. Every like radiation accident character that I can think of gets horribly deformed in some way, and it looks really super painful. And the spider bite hurts for a second, and then now you got superpowers. Like, who wouldn't? Why would you pick doused by radiation?
I don't know, it just seems I don't like the idea of getting bit by a spider.
He would rather be horribly deformed.
I don't know.
Than a tiny spider bite.
Deformed.
And look, this is coming from an arachnophobe. I would still much prefer the spider bite.
Yeah, I guess it depends on like what kind of radiation it is. Like, because it could be, if it's gamma radiation, then like you're basically a cursed man doomed to walk the earth forever alone.
Yeah. And if it's cosmic radiation, then you could turn into a rock monster, or you could just be able to stretch sometimes.
A rock monster.
Yeah.
Hey, I
or
turn into
even
the rock
two
monster.
other possible things.
There's exactly 4 possibilities.
That's right.
With the last name of
Well,
Grimm.
no, 5 if we're talking about the movie Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah, you could
With
get
the last name of
powers.
Grimm,
Because you
I
can
think
get
we know where
lightning
that goes.
powers.
Turn to metal.
I'm sorry, I have no idea what you just said.
I said with the last name of Grimm, I think we know where that goes.
We know which one you get when you get
Yeah.
hit by cosmic rays.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. You got a 1 in 1 chance at that point. That's true. But Dan, name one radiation accident in comics where the side effects are not way worse than they are for Peter Parker. The man spider thing notwithstanding, because I mean he does come back from that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, if you were like one of the gamma characters that, like Jennifer Walters, for example, that doesn't have like a mental illness, like being She-Hulk's pretty cool. She's just like turns into like a really spunky woman when she turns into the Hulk. So, I mean, that would be kind of fun. Like, just being a jolly green giant, really strong,
Doc Samson is awesome. He just has green hair, but he's totally
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot that was a radiation thing. But does She-Hulk have the ability to go back and forth? I thought she was just green all the time.
Yeah, she goes back and forth. Yeah.
Oh, well, see, that's cool. So she's like the Hulk if she could just be the same person all the time.
Well, yeah, and
she says green on and just...
Oh, that's cool.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know anything about this character. No, I didn't think she actually said green on. I was ignoring that.
Yeah, so
the way
the
that
She-Hulk
played
thing
out was
kind of
great.
like
Whatever.
Peter Parker, when he
That
puts
was
on the mask,
funny.
but he's still the same person, but she's more confident and
Yeah.
like the best version of herself, basically, when she's She-Hulk.
I need to read some She-Hulk. I know Peter David has a... Wait, does Peter David have a She-Hulk run on top of a Hulk run?
Short run in
I
the
thought so.
2000s, yeah. The main one that's the most famous one from like classic Marvel stuff is the John Byrne run from the 80s.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that stuff is Deadpool before Deadpool and done way more clever because it's not Deadpool.
Oh.
It's all about breaking the fourth wall and making fun of how terrible Marvel editorial is and roasts them really hard. And it's great.
And he got it past them? That's amazing.
Yes.
I gotta read that.
She-Hulk. Because She-Hulk was created in 75 by Stan Lee. That was the last character he created at Marvel, so that the Hulk TV show people didn't get the rights to a girl Hulk permanently. So he just like slapped together this idea. He's like, "We're gonna make a girl Hulk," and he didn't care about it at all. And then John Byrne was the first person to come in and really do something with it. So yeah, that's like the big classic run on the character, and it's great stuff.
I gotta read that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and the TV show looks like it's going to be based on that stuff, at least to some degree, because they said there's going to be fourth wall breaking stuff in that, and they said Kevin Feige might be in the show. I don't expect them to roast him. I expect it to be bowed down to our corporate overlord instead of what the book is, but I guess we'll see.
Well, are you going to make an exception for that?
I might. but we'll see.
Yeah.
Depends on what the trailers look like. Really.
I'm not holding you to a boycott. You do whatever you want to do. It's just I forgot about that show when you said earlier you weren't going to keep watching. I was like, but I know you like She-Hulk, so I wasn't sure if you'd bow out on that or not.
I might. It depends on. That's one of the ones that I said I think I might check out. Depending on what the trailer looks like. There's some images they've put out of She-Hulk, like some promo images, and they look pretty cool. I think she looks great. So
I am really curious about how they handle that. So $1,000 says Matt Murdock shows up at least for a cameo in that.
Yes,
I'd be kind of shocked if they didn't do that. Anyway.
Yes.
Okay, let's do another one.
All right, we got one from Senior Sticks. $2. Would you rather be Sony Eddie Brock or Leto Morbius?
Oh, that's a great question. I love that. I want Dan to answer this first.
Yeah, Dan, you have
Dan, if you had to be Venom or Morbius from the Sony Spider-Man without Spider-Man shared universe, which would you pick?
I would probably be Eddie Brock, just because Morbius lacks any personality at all, and that would be terrible. And I wouldn't want to have to be addicted to blue Kool-Aid. That would be terrible. Yeah, I'd go with Eddie Brock just because he's more interesting. Like, even though those movies are also terrible, I ironically enjoy the Venom movies because they're so insane. Morbius is just like, it's barely a film. It's like one of the most... It's one of the worst constructed things released in the theater I've ever seen. It's terrible. So
See, I don't agree, Dan. For me, just forgetting like the quality of the movies and just thinking about it practically, like which character would be kind of, easier or better to embody. I'm going with Morbius, and then I'm going to go and point and laugh at Venom, I think, because we talked about this when we reviewed it, Dan. The thing that movie didn't understand is that there were no downsides to being a vampire.
Yep. Well, he did have that like hunger thing, but again, he had
for a minute,
Kool-Aid.
And then it was fine.
Yeah. No, there's like every plot point in that movie is dropped and never addressed again. Like the whole film. It's just introducing plot elements and they're dropped and never come up again.
The cops are kind of after you and stuff, but you just go to Thailand or whatever, and then you're a vampire, and then Sorry,
but
DJ, go ahead.
Is there really no downside to being Venom in that universe either? Because didn't you say you can just eat chickens?
There is a downside to being... Well, he said Eddie Brock, I think. If I could be the symbiote, there's no question.
Right.
Of course I'm picking the symbiote. That's hilarious. But no, if I had to be Eddie Brock, then I have to deal with the symbiote in my head all the time, and I wouldn't want that. There is a downside to that.
Yeah.
That there's not to being a vampire.
Yeah.
But you forget that in the Sony Venomverse, like, the relationship between them is very different. He's just like, I'm a goofball, Eddie! Like he is in the comic book.
But I don't want that in my head while I'm trying to go on a date or something. Like, you just kind of apologize. I'm like, I don't want to listen to that all day long. Like, no. Dan, your shirt is cool.
Oh, thank you, yeah. My parents got me this for Christmas.
That's
a Boba Fett sweatshirt.
That's
my favorite.
You said it like a Disney show.
How cold is it where you are?
I got a Boba Fett sweatshirt. Only $29.99.
Link in the description. Smash that like button.
Oh dear. I've heard that a few too many times lately, just flipping through videos.
Ring the bell.
Ring that bell. You'll never ever hear me say that. Unironically.
Good for you, unironically.
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I just think it's irritating.
No, it is.
Maybe not quite as irritating as apologize.
I don't know. It would be eventually. If you have something in your head going, smash that like button.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Ring the bell. Yeah. Smash that like button.
You just go through life just with this thing. Like, you see something, oh, ring that bell. Okay.
Oh, my God. I have this total mental picture of what that movie would be, and that's amazing. Anyway, that was a fun question.
Well, here's another one. Josh Galisano. Good old Josh. Hey, Josh. Would you rather be an apple or an orange?
An orange. I just like to taste better.
I just feel like we're dealing with like apples and oranges at this point.
Texture, taste.
Would it be more painful to have your skin just bitten straight into, or have your skin peeled off first, and then separated, and then get eaten?
Well, the answer is neither, because if you're fruit, you got no nerve endings.
I don't know. Scientologists believe that tomatoes feel pain.
Specifically tomatoes?
I do know. They're wrong.
I mean...
They must be, like, against, like, Italian cooking writ large, huh?
No tomato sauce for you.
I mean, you couldn't even be vegan at that point. You can't have food. It's just wrong to have sustenance. Yeah. Anyway, that's a silly question. I'm going with
to answer
orange
DJ's question.
For no reason.
Having your skin peeled off would be way worse than being bitten into. Absolutely. Can you imagine just being slayed?
I had all you guys on this show is because I knew this would turn into an After Dark kind of situation.
But if you're an orange, your skin just kind of flakes right off. It's not as hard as...
Well, it's kind of scaly. Yeah, okay. It's a rind. It's more than a skin. I mean, okay, sure.
I don't want to be an orange because if I still had my same like bombastic voice and personality, people would inevitably call me the annoying orange.
I heard that a mile away.
Want that?
Heard that a mile away. Yeah, no, that's hilarious. At that point, you might as well be a banana. It's the same principle. Skin being peeled off.
Sure, but that may not be so as bad because it's not as connected to you. So maybe you wouldn't even hardly feel that. Like it's just your house really just being peeled away.
I think I'd want to be an apple because they're sturdier fruits than oranges. Like they're harder to crush. Like if something were to happen to you, like I feel like you get injured really easy if you're an orange.
It's true. You could prop up a table.
Yeah.
For a minute. Exactly. We took this question way too seriously.
Josh is having the last laugh right now. Super Billy.
Yeah, he is.
199. Would you rather have Eternals 2 or Moon Knight Season 2? I can't answer this.
Ooh, I can't answer that either. I haven't seen enough Moon Knight. Right now where I'm at, I guess I'll say Eternals just because I like that movie fine and I'm more invested with that, I guess. But I haven't seen the rest of Moon Knight, so I can't answer that.
I have not seen Eternals, so neither can I, but I really like Moon Knight, so I would probably pick that.
Nobody is qualified to answer this. Is Moon Knight even over yet?
No. It's only had 2 or 3 episodes. And actually, I don't think
it's on 5 episodes now.
Is it really? Oh,
yes.
I'm still the me from a few weeks ago. Yeah. Well, but if it's not over, then you're right. Like nobody can answer this because right now Dan is saying he might want a season 2, but if it doesn't stick the landing and it's got an awful ending, he might go okay, never mind. Because that's happened.
It could end up being an ad like the first season of Loki culminated in by the end. So hopefully
it was an
that
ad overall.
And I like that show, sort of. And then I just can't even. We didn't review this, and partly it was because I didn't know how to articulate. I don't know what was going on with that last episode. Like how you'd write it like that. It's just 75% of that episode is a speech, and
yeah. I mean, reflecting back on that show,
a lot of exposition.
There's a lot of things in retrospect that I think are really stupid, like the fight where Loki loses a fight to a Walmart employee that's like this old fat out of shape man, and you're like, this is an action scene in a Marvel thing. It's Loki fighting a Walmart employee. What is this?
I mean, it could be worse. It could be Ghostbusters Afterlife where they just go into a Walmart that's open, but no one's there.
That is true.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I've never been to a Walmart even at midnight and there's been nobody.
They didn't have employees. There's no one there.
I mean, that kind of tracks, but... Walmart's not known for their friendly, visible employees. They blend in and they scatter. You turn the lights on and they scatter like cockroaches. But
that's really funny. Anyway,
yeah, I really liked Eternals 2, but a lot of what I liked about it was the revisionist history stuff, and an Eternals 2 wouldn't have any of that because they're just. I won't spoil it for Dan, but where it's going at the end, it seems like it's going to be a completely different thing. So I don't know, and I haven't watched any of Moon Knight yet. And I know nothing about the quality of that show. I know Austin hates it, but I know Dan really likes it, so I don't know. Could go either way. I appreciate Dan's opinion, but I
usually go with Dan.
I haven't checked it out because
No, I'm somewhere in the middle. I totally see what Austin's saying. But I don't feel strongly about the things he feels strongly about, but I get why he feels the way he does about it.
This isn't why I haven't watched it, because I don't look at advertising anyway, but the ads on YouTube that I'm getting for Moon Knight are horrible. Has anyone seen these? It's literally just a scene that they rip out and put in front of a YouTube video, and all it is Ethan Hawke walking through a crowd of people, and then he gets up to the front, and then he's about to talk, and then it stops, and I'm like, what was that supposed to tell me about this show? It was horrible.
Oh, Austin's actually in the comments and says there's a reason nobody's at that Walmart in Ghostbusters, because people are running away from the terror dog at the start of that scene. I've seen it once, and I didn't remember that the dog was there yet, but I guess it must have. Okay, maybe that makes more sense than I thought it did. Whatever. It's not like it's the reason I don't like that movie. I just thought it was weird.
I totally forgot what I was going to say. Never mind.
Sorry.
Well, here we got from John Ty, a little bit of a longer one. $5 between the two comic book events from the big two. Which would you rather be surviving in? Secret Wars 2015 or Crisis on Infinite Earths?
I'm gonna go with Secret Wars just because at the end of the day, nothing really changed. Like, sort of pretended like it did, but like nothing was really all that different by the end of it. It's really weird. Like Doctor Doom remakes the whole, everything, and they talk about rebooting. Like, is this big deal? Like Marvel's finally gonna reboot, and everybody's like, oh no, you can't do that. And then you got to the end of it, and didn't really actually happen. So I guess I'd pick that just because I wouldn't have to deal with any massive changes like with Crisis. But also with Crisis, if you were in the middle of it, your memories would change, so you wouldn't know about it. I guess that's also kind of true with Secret Wars. So my answer is it doesn't matter.
I have read neither of these events, so I don't know.
There you go. I'll say, and these might be fighting words, I actually like, if I have to compare them, Secret Wars better than Crisis. Even though there's some really great stuff in Crisis, and there's some beautiful, beautiful art in that book. But I sort of knew what was happening in Secret Wars. I guess the problem in comparing them, though, is that Crisis is kind of a complete piece, and Secret Wars, a lot of the real meat of it happens in tie-in events, and I don't like it when we do that. You can't really just sit down and read Secret Wars. There's a lot of extra material you have to look at, but
True.
All right, the next one is from Chewbacca's Lover, $10 super chat. I didn't mean to imply that everybody... well, this isn't a would you rather. I think he's just correcting something from earlier, but I'll go ahead and read it because it's a super chat. Sure. I didn't mean to imply that everybody shouldn't be given the benefit of the doubt. People are innocent until proven guilty. I just think defending someone you know for sure is guilty is indefensible.
Well, that's why. Isn't that why lawyers like bow out of trials sometimes?
No, not usually. You have to have a good reason to drop out of the case, and if everyone did that, people who were guilty would never be able to be defended by anyone. That's the flaw.
That's the problem with that. Thinking, It's only indefensible if the person is like trying too hard. I'm not saying they shouldn't like do their job well because you have to, but if they're slimy about it, it's different than just this person deserves a defense, so I'll give them the best defense I can, but we all know that they probably... I mean, and the thing is, Dan, am I right about this? In a lot of cases like that, the defense isn't so much, let's make everybody think that this person that did a heinous crime didn't actually do it, but just lessen the sentence as best as possible.
Yeah, they try to negotiate with the prosecutor to get a plea deal. That's a lot of the time how those cases will go. If it's so obvious, like the evidence is so dang-ing.
You can say damning, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
That was great.
Yeah, they'll try to negotiate with the prosecutor to try to get a lesser sentence and all of that sort of stuff. But that doesn't always work. If the prosecutor thinks they have an open and shut case and they want to pursue it, and throw the book at someone, that's up to them. I mean, it's every case is different.
Is some of it trying to throw in a justification for the guilty? Sometimes, maybe they did it, but here's the reason why.
Well, it depends on the way that the client wishes to go out the case, because the lawyer can't just decide that they want to justify their client's position. Like if they want a plea deal, the lawyer and the prosecutor offers one to them, the lawyer has to take it. But if their client says no, I want to go to trial, then the lawyer will be obligated to make a case for their client and try to cast as much doubt on the evidence as possible. It just depends on the way the case goes.
Yeah, and to what Chewbacca's lover said, respectfully, if you believe in due process and that everybody deserves a defense, but you also think that if you're pretty sure the person did the heinous act, then you can't defend them, then what you're wanting is a lot of ignorant, dumb lawyers that are really naive and don't understand anything. That's what you're asking for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But anywho.
Yeah. Moving around. Thanks for the clarification, but I still disagree with you. Sorry, go ahead, DJ.
Back to the Would You Rathers. From Super Billy, would you rather possess a mech suit or a spacecraft?
Ooh, that's fun. I like this question because it's completely superficial and and it's just a fun whatever kind of question. I'm just my own personal sensibilities. I've never been a huge giant robot guy or mech suit guy, regardless of my Power Rangers obsession. So I don't know why. I like Megazords just because I grew up with them. That's about it. I don't really care about the giant robot thing. So I guess I have to say spaceships just because I'm a sci-fi guy and I like space operas. But
I'm gonna say spaceships because I'm gonna assume,
I would think you would say spaceships.
Well, I'm gonna assume at this point, if we're talking about spaceships, we're also talking about interplanetary travel as well. So, it's not going to be like your space shuttle that just orbits the Earth. Sure, that would be cool, but if that's the case, I want a mech suit. If you're talking about mech suits, then the ships obviously are traveling further. So, I'm going to want to explore. I'm going to want to go places. I'm going to want to meet the alien races. So, it's a spacesuit or a spaceship all the way for me.
Yeah, spaceship for me as well. I feel like a mech suit in the world we live in would be really impractical. What would you use it for?
I mean, you could fly.
I mean, you could say that about Iron Man, right? What's Iron Man going to use that suit for?
You could fly.
Having fun.
Places really quickly. You would it's your own little private jet suit, but a giant mech suit, like a Gundam or a Megazord.
Oh, okay.
If you want to smash some cities, Dan.
No, you're right. You need giant monsters before a giant mech suit makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I feel like people would just be freaked out by the fact that you had a giant mech suit and were
it's a preemptive mech suit
or whatever. I don't know. Space
so
travel,
Pacific Rim then.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, even if we had
That's
giant
exactly
monsters to fight, I would be very much more interested in exploring space. That's just
I'll leave that to somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm also claustrophobic, so I wouldn't want to get in a mech suit because I'm claustrophobic.
Well, you could have
a spaceship.
Then.
That's okay. Well, Enterprise size,
big
sure.
enough.
Yeah, sure.
And also, I feel like I'd still be less claustrophobic in a shuttlecraft than I would be in a mech suit, where you're confined like this, and you have a helmet thing on. And,
fair point.
I wouldn't want that.
You could have a mech suit with a spacious cabin.
Sure, but when I think mech suit, I'm thinking it's a suit,
an Iron Man enclosure
that you put on that's a little bit bigger than you are. But,
that's where I was going with that too.
But when you're talking about a giant robot, I guess that also sort of counts in the realm of mech suit. But I wasn't picturing it that way initially when he asked the question.
I thought the question was Megazords because you.
No, mech suit is what he said.
You just said mech. Yeah.
He said spaceship or
be anything.
or
it doesn't
mech.
have to be giant.
Oh, he didn't even say suit. We don't even know what the question was.
He did say mech suit.
I thought he said suit.
That's why I wasn't picturing big. So I was probably going to go with that because I think I'd be really, really bored.
He got his mech
travel.
suit from Men's Warehouse.
Well, one of these things is not like the others, and one of these things does not belong. DJ. We all said spaceships, and he did not. That's what
The
I'm
guy in
talking
the mech suit's gonna like the way he looks.
I don't understand why I have to explain this, but anyway, go ahead, TJ. Dan just gave me this like deer in the headlight. Like, what are you talking about?
Senior Sticks, would you rather be part of the Valiant film universe or an Image film universe?
Image every day of the week.
Yeah.
I don't even know what any of the Valiant characters are, and they tried to make one with Vin Diesel apparently, and it looked terrible.
It's terrible. Yep.
That was Valiant? That's amazing.
Yep. So, I mean, Image is just like, I don't know. I don't necessarily want an Image universe, I guess, because like their books are so diverse in genre and like I wouldn't want like Invincible and The Walking Dead and Spawn to coexist necessarily. Like that'd be weird, you know.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that for a fun, silly, like 4-issue crossover thing, but I don't need like a whole movie universe or whatever with it. Like, I was just thinking about that, Dan, where it's like, yeah, I would read like 4 issues of Spawn in like The Walking Dead happens, but like Spawn is just around and has to deal with it. Like that could be fun, but I don't need all that to exist in the same universe. And it's kind of silly to. I mean, Image began trying to connect things and then went, forget that, and then quit doing that, which was smart, because like there's young blood references all over the first few issues of Spawn and stuff like that, and then eventually it just became what it was kind of imagined as, which is just a publishing house for writers and artists to come in and do whatever they wanted to and keep the rights of their characters. That was the whole point of Image. That's still what it is. So asking for an Image shared universe is like asking for like a Scholastic shared universe. Like, it's just a publishing house that has a bunch of books. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
I know Hasbro's trying to do that kind of thing where it's like, we own all these toy things and none of them go together, but let's make a universe. Like, I don't need that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I missed the boat on being interested in Valiant. I know it was like relatively popular when it first started, but I never got into them.
Come on.
I don't know anything about the characters.
Come on, Dan. You don't want Ninjak, Magnus Robot Fighter, Roku, and PSI Lords?
There's one called Roku.
Yes, there's one called Roku.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and my wife loves Ninjak.
Oh, really?
Well, not that she's ever read it. She just has this. So I used to sell part-time online. I used to sell a lot of comics, and Dan, you know about this. I used to buy collections and sell online, and we used to get a lot of Ninjak.
He looks awesome.
We would sell Ninjak, and I don't know, my wife just kind of latched onto the look of that guy, but I think she also just thought it was funny that she'd never heard of it before, and we couldn't stop winding up with it. Eric found her a Ninjak t-shirt somewhere.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's so cool. I had that with. Does anyone know Darkhawk from Marvel?
Yeah.
I had an obscene amount of Darkhawk comics as a kid. No kid should have as many Darkhawk comics. He just looked so cool, man. He had like Wolverine claws and wings and.
Well, I want to say I've sold a bunch of that too, but that's not true because nobody bought it. I had it. I still have the Venom issues because I collect Venom, and there was a 2 or 3 issue arc that Venom shows up. Did you have those, DJ?
No, I did not. I did not have those, but Darkhawk's so cool. He has like a Cyclops visor, but Wolverine claws, but he also can fly with like angel wings. He's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't remember anything about him anymore. I don't even remember what he looks like under the suit.
I don't either. I was all about the art as a kid.
Well, I was gonna say I thought maybe he was a black man. But maybe I don't remember anymore. I don't know anything about Darkhawk anymore. I just have Venom comics with him. That's what I remember.
He's awesome. Everybody go look up Darkhawk. They'll be worth something someday. All right.
No, they won't. Even when Disney Plus in 2049 makes the Dark Hawk show, they're not going to be worth anything.
No, not at all. What are we on? We're on Jedi Knight. $2. Would you rather fight Walmart Man or Thanos?
Definitely Walmart. Man.
Tried to get that out before Cat finished his drink, but I was not successful.
That would have been very wet for me.
I want to give Walmart Man the Infinity Gauntlet so bad. He goes, this is what Walmart Man does with the Infinity Gauntlet. I don't have to work tomorrow.
Just gets rid of all Walmarts.
Perfectly balanced. All the shelves are perfectly balanced.
It's quite a voice change.
Oh my god, that's so good. He was doing an impression. You change your voice.
No, I know that, but I didn't think his voice could do that. That's what I'm saying. That was quite the change. Not that he changed
Do you guys remember the old Walmart commercials? Like if Thanos' whole thing was just to like make Walmart better, and he's like, I'll show you some falling prices.
I'm going to make Walmart great again.
Anyway.
Oh boy. I guess I'm fighting Walmart Man.
I mean...
Oh, well, you have to fight Walmart Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. I haven't seen Loki, but that sounds like the safer bet.
Yeah, I mean, you'd almost rather fight anybody than Thanos, at least if he's got the gauntlet.
Very true. Very true.
I mean, you can beat up Hulk without the gauntlet, so either way.
Yeah.
That's
the Day
true.
Ghost.
To be fair, in the comics, Thanos is pretty powerful even without the gauntlet. It's just in the movies, I don't really know why. So, yeah.
Because he's big and purple, man.
Oh.
The
Large, muscular CGI men can beat you.
He looks like he was eroded out of a purple stone.
I don't know
all
what to
the
say.
lines on his face.
I don't know what to say to that.
Eroded.
Yeah, go ahead, DJ.
I just wanted to let that sit for a minute.
And you did.
The Day Ghost pops in.
Hi,
Give us
Austin.
$13.99, but it's Canadian money.
Oh, thanks,
so
man. Yeah, so it's like $3.50. Go ahead.
Not worth anything. Would you rather kiss your wife lovingly or play a bad retro game? YouTube made me censor this in order to send it, and I didn't have a curse word. So I think we can.
Did you say the word black?
I don't.
That's the question.
That never worked. Okay, so like, why would I play a bad game over kissing my wife? I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't even understand this question, Austin. Like, it has a right answer.
Is there?
The only way this question has a wrong answer is if you find your wife repulsive.
Is there something in Canada we don't know about that makes
No, there's
this?
something in Austin we don't know about.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Austin is
Very
the person
true.
who will spend $13.99 to write a question just so that we don't understand it and we have this conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's really
That's a very
enjoying this.
Austonian thing.
This is how he trolls us.
So, I mean, I'd rather kiss my girlfriend. Obviously.
Well, the question says wife, so sorry, Brandon.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you have to have a wife to answer this question. Would you like to kiss your theoretical wife, Dan, or play a bad retro game? What is this question, Austin? You're wasting my time, sir.
I don't know. Joke's on Austin. He gave you $13.99 Canadian.
It's a really good point. Yeah.
Very true.
But if he got a kick out of it, then it was money well spent.
I don't agree with that. sorry, go ahead, Dan.
I think for the lulz, I'm going to say I would rather play a terrible retro game.
Okay.
Give us any reason.
I mean, you might just be more in the mood for that day. Like, you're not always in the mood for kissing your theoretical wife. Anyway. All right, DJ, moving right along.
Okay. This is from Ben Script Super.
Hi, I don't recognize that name, but you could be someone we know and you just changed it.
Yeah, what did you change your name from, you
But-
liar?
But welcome.
But
Thank you
for
very
$10.
much for the super chat. What's
Man,
up?
changeable screen names. I never know who anybody
Oh,
is
you know what?
anymore.
Sorry, and I don't mean to make fun because this actually sounds like somebody that maybe has never commented before because he says thanks for another great show. Been watching since 2010. So maybe somebody that just came out of the woodwork and finally decided to chat with us. So anyway, thanks so much for watching and thanks for your super chat. Go ahead, DJ.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Would you rather have your comic book biography written by Todd McFarlane or Rob Liefeld?
I love this question so much.
Comment of the stream.
This is comment of the stream. Easy, easy. You know why? Because McFarlane is a horrible writer.
I knew you were going to say that.
And Liefeld is a not great artist and also a not great writer. But I don't know that he's as bad as McFarlane. I haven't read a lot by him. Has Liefeld attempted to write anything, Dan?
Oh yeah, he's written quite a few things. Most of the stuff he did at Image, he wrote.
Now that you say that, I guess I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Boy. That's a toss-up. I think that might be an unanswerable question. I think I would be more curious to see what nonsense McFarlane would come up with, or to find out if he actually turns out to be better at writing nonfiction. Because it actually might be a decent book. He just doesn't know how to write fiction. That could happen.
Well, yeah, I imagine if he had a story he had to tell, like a person's history that he had to stick to, then he could just make it look really cool.
Well, yeah, but we didn't say comic book biography. Like, I'm just imagining him write an entire book by himself.
Oh, he did. He said, would you rather have your comic book biography written by Todd
Oh,
McFarlane or
comic
Rob
book
Liefeld?
biography. I guess I could pay attention.
So what, your life in graphic
Oh,
novel
well, then it's
form?
definitely McFarlane. Easy. Especially because I'd get to see McFarlane render stuff from Spawn Year, which would be the most kick-ass coolest thing that ever happened.
It'd be the most meta thing you'd ever seen.
Exactly, yeah. So okay, I still really like that question, but it's not unanswerable. There's one answer if you're me.
Now you've got me picturing your Spawn, him doing artwork for your Spawn Year in the meta end of Spawn
Yeah.
Year. That's fascinating.
But
Which would
what-
probably just
I
amount
can
to,
picture this.
Which would just amount to you brought some prompt from Spawn Year to McFarlane at a convention, and he just did a doodle on it and wrote his name. Like,
Can you do that? I want to see you do that.
I'd have to stand in too long of a line.
Is he that popular?
So Dan, would you Yeah. Well, and then the money you'd have to spend to get. Brandon doesn't understand things about comics. The kind,
Teach me, OT.
the kind of money you'd have to spend. Yeah, McFarlane's a big deal. Anyway,
Okay.
Dan, would you? So the question is, would you rather in your comic biography not have hands and feet, or be drawn by
They're not
McFarlane?
drawing it; they're just writing it.
I guess he did. Well, then this is a convoluted comic book biography written by. So somebody else is drawing it, but it's still in comic form. Why?
Well,
don't they
it
do
could
that all the
be
time?
drawn for him.
I know, but he
By-
picked artists.
Well, but Liefeld and McFarlane write things that they don't draw all the time now.
That's true. Well, then we're back to the drawing board.
Or the writing board.
I love this question.
So many twists and turns. We thought it was straightforward.
Okay, Dan,
So
who would
many
you,
levels to this
who would you
question.
pick, Dan?
I would pick Liefeld because of the things that I have read. Liefeld is a better writer than McFarlane by a country mile, and Rob Liefeld is a bad writer.
What is a country mile? I haven't heard
I
that one
love that you
before.
went. Really? I love that you went with Country Mile for that. That was spectacular. It's just an expression, Brandon.
Yeah, but I have
who
no
is
context.
visiting us from the moon.
So yeah, that is my answer.
I just can't believe you've never heard that, Brandon.
Yeah, I know. It's escaped me.
DJ, do you have an answer?
I do not, because I am an illiterate fool who knows nothing about comics.
That's not true. and Brandon doesn't know enough either, probably.
I mean, I know less than I think DJ does.
that is true.
I mean, Brandon doesn't even know what happens if you combine a country and a mile.
Ouch. Ouch.
All right, shall we?
Didn't miss a beat either. Anyway, go ahead.
Spencer Nielsen gives us another
Hi,
great comment.
Spencer.
Would you rather get nuts or dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
That's great. Well, I know what get nuts means. The Dance with the Devil thing, totally up in the air. Completely ethereal. I have no idea what that means. So I'm going with get nuts. Just because it's not as ominous and freaky sounding.
I've always taken the Dance with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight to mean like make a pact with the devil. Like, selling your soul, basically. That's how I always kind of read into it.
Like he's chosen to just be evil.
Right, and just, do the tit with the devil.
He has... I'll let that go.
However you say that. I know I screwed that up so bad. I was like, no.
Brandon has a read on a thing I've never even bothered to think to read.
Really?
Yeah, well done.
Oh, thank you.
All right, we got to do another 89 commentary.
That was really good. Just to get that in there.
4 Horsemen commentary.
Oh, no, that's also...
Because I always thought that he was commenting on his...
Dude, I'm all for that. Absolutely.
I just always thought he was commenting on the path he's chosen in life. Like...
Yeah,
I'm the bad guy, and I'm doing the bad guy thing.
I think you're onto something. But Dan, you've never been on an 89 commentary, and DJ has never been on an 89 commentary, and I don't think you have either. So
that's the last one we did.
You were with us on that one.
Finally,
okay, that's right.
You sound like Topher Grace at the end of Spider-Man 3. You've never been in an 89 commentary. You've never been in an 89 commentary.
Anyway, I'm just saying that we have ways to make them different enough to keep making them. Even though we have 11.
Wow, that's amazing. That's
almost
as
many commentaries as iterations of Batman. How many iterations of Batman are there?
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about live action, then no, we've passed it already. But if you're talking about just in general, then we're not anything close.
Well,
anyway.
Hyperbole, but yes.
Moving right along.
Bob the Hun, with a super chat specifically for Dan. He starts it with, Dan, would you rather James Luceno or John Ostrander fix sequel era Star Wars and make that stuff good? It worked for prequel era Star Wars brilliantly.
That's a great question.
I think I would probably pick Luceno just because I've read more of his Star Wars work.
I thought you were going to say Ostrander. I'm shocked.
Oh yeah, I haven't read the first volume of Star Wars Legacy much. I've read some of it, but not a ton of it. But I like James Luceno's Star Wars novels quite a bit. I grew up on a bunch of the stuff he did. His Darth Maul novels, also the Darth Plagueis novel he did is great, and that stuff even does some really interesting stuff with like metachlorians, which I never thought would be an idea that could be made cool. So yeah. I think I would go with him.
But Dan, what are metachlorians?
Exactly.
Dan, I don't want to be mean, but you piss me off sometimes, man.
Oh.
'Cause I finally bothered a few years ago to get a little bit more into the EU. And the thing I fell in love with is like the one thing you don't know.
Yeah.
That's obnoxious.
Sorry.
I love Legacy, man. I've read maybe half of it now, and it's so good. I'm finally gonna get back to reviewing that. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was trying to I was going to read all of it and then just do like a big overall review. And I'm glad I didn't do that because there's so much of it I wouldn't have been able to touch on very much. But that kind of fell through because I was reading it a lot, and then other things happened that I had to deal with, and then I didn't get back to it. But I'm finally going to try to do that in arcs with Austin said he'll come in and do it. But
nice.
You need to read some of that. It's really good.
Yeah, I definitely want to at some point. For sure.
But I've always wanted to read that Plagueis novel, and I haven't done that, so.
It's really good. It's good stuff.
Really quick, Kat, did I miss your answer to the last question? After the interpretation of Dance with the Devil, would you rather dance with the devil or get nuts?
No, I opened that. I said get nuts.
No, I know, but then I gave a different interpretation for
right.
Dance with the Devil. Did that change anything?
No.
Oh, okay. Just curious.
Anyway,
you don't want to be a devil, then.
Moving right along.
He's really trying to sell you on that second one.
Yeah, apparently. He's like, no, but you liked my idea, so you have to change what you said.
That is not even. Oh, my God. Anyway.
Senior Sticks, would you rather be narrated by McFarland or Moore?
Wow, we're just really stuck on McFarlane here.
McFarland night, folks.
McFarlane, because if I was in a thing that McFarlane was narrating, he could be like, "You're watching Geekvolution, so turn off the lights," and then that'd be the best thing ever. I like McFarlane's voice. I kind of wish he did more of that kind of stuff. I think he's actually decent at it. He did the openings for the first couple seasons of the Spawn HBO show, and he did kind of a Crypt Keeper thing, and that's where that comes from. He'd go, "You're watching Spawn, so turn out the lights," and I love that. It's like it's so classy, it's so old school. And I don't know if he wrote the blurbs that he did at the beginning of that, but they were so much better than his actual Spawn writing, and Spawn sounded like a better thing when you'd listen to that, because he would explain thematically what he was after, and you're like, "Well, you're onto something. You got some good ideas. You just don't know how to tell stories." So yeah, like, I wish he'd do more of that kind of stuff. I like his voice.
He had a good framework.
Yeah, exactly.
He should take one of your creative writing
But
classes.
Moore has a great voice too, so.
Yeah, that's who I'd probably pick, because his voice is really creepy, and he thinks he's a wizard. So, like, having a man who thinks he's a wizard read, things to me would be awesome.
Read to me, wizard.
He wears, like, this weird claw thing on his finger, like it's a giant gold, like, metal claw
Something
looking Talon
steampunk
thing.
type.
And he's like, "I'm Alan Moore." It's awesome.
If you're Moore, you can get away with anything.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Dan. All right, moving on. Oh, I meant to say, Spencer, we don't like to do the who would win in a fight questions, but he asked one, so go ahead.
Yeah, it's a super chat, so I'll read it, but it's not even framed as a would you rather, but I'll turn it into a would you rather. Would you rather see Mohawk Storm with a chainsaw win in a fight, or John Goodman in Ms. Thing's suit?
What?
John Goodman all the way. In Mrs. Thing's suit? Like, that would be amazing. Are you kidding me?
It's like he came up with the John Goodman thing, and then he just needed something on the other side, and anything you said was going to sound lame in comparison.
Mrs. Thing is pretty awesome.
You need two weird things that you forced together, and you just went, Storm and a Mohawk. It's not even weird. Like, that's the standard way we do her now. Like, we went back to the 80s, we'll never go back now.
Well, he did say Mohawk Storm with a chainsaw.
Oh, that's true. He gave her a chainsaw.
It's a little weirder.
Well,
But compared to John Good, like, look, it's apples and oranges, okay?
would you
It's
rather have your
McFarlane's and
flesh
Liefeld.
peeled off of you or bitten into?
Anyway, the correct answer is John Goodman in this thing suit.
All right. Chewbacca's lover, $5.
We're not doing trivia questions, okay? Like, you can't have a right answer.
I'll tell that to Austin.
Oh, I've got lots of
$5.
things to
You can
tell
have a
Austin
right
after
question.
this show. You can have a right question?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Would you rather Alex Kurtzman be immortal and forever in charge of Star Trek?
Oh, my ears are burning.
I'm sorry,
Or-
I'm hungry, and all I've got is my hand.
You would rather be
Or-
bitten into
or,
like
hey,
an
there's
apple.
There's another option, guys. It's okay.
Yeah, but my ears are bleeding.
Uh-huh.
Or it be completely rebooted by Todd McFarlane, and he writes all the shows.
Let's try it, because anything.
I
gotta
never
be-
in a million years thought I would say this, but yeah, I take McFarlane over what's going on right now. And that's after a lot of Picard's written by McElroy, who wrote the Spawn movie and some of the worst Spawn comics. I'm not kidding, Dan. They got the guy that wrote the worst Spawn stuff to write Star Trek.
And that's saying something.
While I'm comparing it to McFarlane.
I was saying to the guys in the Discord today, it makes me laugh every time I watch an episode of Halo on Paramount Plus. Because if I don't close the app quickly enough, it starts playing an episode of Picard. It's like, please watch Picard.
They're just trying to get their numbers up.
Like, maybe if you fell asleep during the episode, we can just sneak this view in.
Dan, don't do it, man. Don't accidentally watch Picard.
I watched because I was like, this might be like meme funny to me because I have no investment in this character. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll watch it. And I tried one time when I was eating dinner because I had nothing else to watch on TV. I put that on for like 10 minutes and I was like, yeah, I'm bored by this. I don't want to watch the rest of the episode.
So what service besides YouTube that streams?
Dan, just let me give you 2 or 3 like really good Picard episodes, so you at least know that like why I love that character so much. Like it's my favorite character in fiction.
Like so, if you're watching one show and then the next thing to stream isn't the next episode, it's just an episode of another show completely.
Well, I watch Halo as it comes out week to week, so there's never any new
every streaming
episode
service does that.
in the queue.
Yeah,
but
they'll probably do like you like this, so you might like this, and then play another sci-fi thing.
Right.
yeah, that's what I assume it is. And that makes some sense, I guess, if you're not measuring quality at all. Because I love the Halo show. I think it's really good. And then Picard is not good at all, but it's also a sci-fi thing, so I could see maybe why they did that, but I just think it's funny.
But you also are probably watching the only original series they've made that's worth anything. If it's good, I haven't watched it. But that's the other thing, too, is if Halo is actually a decent show, then your options are of decent stuff are Halo and Halo. Like, they haven't made good content on that service.
Yeah, what are they going to play?
Halo
iCarly?
benefits from originally being a Showtime show that Paramount just, got. So, it's not even really their show.
Which means if it's decent, don't hold your breath for season 2, because now they're in charge of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's all the same people coming back for season 2, and they greenlit it when it was a Showtime show. So I'm still excited about it, but I guess we'll see.
Spencer Nielsen back again, $4.99.
Hi, Spencer. Okay, who's got a chainsaw this time?
Hi, Spencer.
This is a writing question.
Yeah.
You're writing The Flash.
No, I'm not. Oh, sorry.
Who would you rather be your artist? And I'm going to butcher these names. Is that Jorge Jimenez or Dan Mara?
I mean, I'm going to have a hard time not picking Dan Mora for everything. Because I love him so much. But those are both great artists. I just think Mora can do no wrong, man. He looks good on everything.
I don't remember what these artists' art looks like off the top of my head, so I don't know if I have an informed take on this. But yeah,
fair enough.
I would like to write the Flash. That'd be fun. Anything would be better than what's the boring things that have been. Like the Flash isn't even offensively bad, like Spider-Man has been for a long time. Like it's just boring. Like every time I tried to read it after Jeff Johns left, I'm like, it's boring.
Yep. Yeah, I tried to look at a couple of things, and this has been a long time ago now, but I'm not reading current at all. But I tried to read an issue or two around the Button when that happened, the early Tom King Batman stuff, because that was a tie-in with The Flash. And then I was like, I wonder what this book is doing now that I had to read a couple issues of it. And yeah, I'm with you. It was kind of boring.
Yep. And now they've handed that man the keys to the DC universe. He's killing off all the Justice League and then bringing them back a month later.
Yeah, and nobody cares. And they're really desperate to get anybody to read anything but Batman. And when you look at all the gimmicks they're doing, and Marvel and DC have been really gimmicky for a long time, but it's even worse because some 85-90% of everything they're putting out is Batman or Batman related because they can't get anybody to read anything and they're in such dire straits financially, and then they're doing silly events like that trying to get people to look at other stuff. And I can't remember. There's a couple other examples of just strange things they're doing with characters trying to get anybody to read them, and it's not working. Which means this time next year, all you'll see is 100% Batman comics at DC, and finally DC will really truly stand for Detective Comics because that's all they'll be making.
Yeah.
Well, we have accomplished all of these super chats up to this point. I'm going to jump back to some
One more just
pre-writtens.
popped in. Why don't you do one or two pre-writtens, and then we'll go to John Ty's super chat that just came in, and then we'll call it. We'll call it a day if no more come in. But yeah, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, let's do some pre-writtens. Daniel Davis. Would you rather be a slice of bread or a bagel?
I'm gonna go with a bagel.
Same.
All day long.
Yeah, bagels are way better than regular bread, in my humble opinion. So I would go bagel.
Watch DJ say bread. Here we go.
Oh, I mean, I can if you want me to.
No, that's
What's
fine.
up?
That's fine.
Give me
What's
I
your,
mean, he already looks so white bread.
what's your
so
wow?
I can make it-
What's your true?
I was going to bring this back to the After Dark conversation that I believe the four of us were on for when Brandon compared us all to donuts. So I knew he was going to go for bagel.
meat bags with a through hole.
I forgot about that. Don't
Yeah,
say it
I
out
thought
loud.
about that earlier in this conversation too.
Don't say it on a regular
I heard
live
a
show.
scientist say it. So
With the through hole.
Just cover your ears, kids. Brandon's talking again. I've never been a giant bagel fan. Like, I'll have it with cream cheese if it's around. I guess not anymore because I don't do dairy. But like I used to do that. But Dan, I've gotten really into English muffins the last year or so. I never used to be big into that, but I make like egg sandwiches with English muffins now. It's like my favorite thing.
I love English
Oh, nice.
muffins.
Yeah, I love egg sandwiches with bagels. I like everything bagels a lot. Just throw everything on there. That's what I'm about. And you throw some eggs and bacon on there, some cheese. That is primo breakfast right there. It's great.
I like the density
Dan
of a
has
bagel over bread.
Dan has a hearty breakfast. Let me tell you.
No, I don't eat that like all the time, but every once in a while when I do have it, it's good stuff. Because you are right. Because bagels are like very high in calories.
Very
So
dense.
you have to be careful.
I don't know, man. I feel like if you're just a bagel, you're limited to only one meal of the day. A slice of bread is really just a blank canvas to do any number
He
of things.
seriously is stepping out on us again. One of these things is
He
once
makes a
again
valid
not
point,
like
though.
the others.
I mean, you
No,
could be a nice.
One of these things is
sandwich,
wrong.
You could be BLT, anything. I mean, bread's in everything.
Yeah, but you could also get a thicker bread like a potato bread. That's always good too.
And pumpernickel.
Oh yeah, that's good. I've gotten to where I always toast my bread now, and I like
Yeah.
a lot more sandwichy things than I used to because I don't like soggy bread, so I guess I don't even really care for just regular bread as much as harder bread. So I toast it all the time now.
Would you would any of you use a bagel for things that
Nobody cares about
traditionally
any of
using bread for, like say a hot dog? Would you put a hot dog on a bagel?
That sounds weird.
I'd
It
do
would
it.
make a hot dog taste better because hot dogs are gross.
Would you
Well-
put the hot dog in between the two bagel halves, or would you put it through the hole, Brandon?
Oh, gee. Oh, I hadn't even considered that. Oh my god, that is not a conversation for this show. No, the two halves.
You guys, Dan's statement just now was a hot dog take.
Oh, I have to excuse myself.
After the crap you're saying, I gotta make it wholesome again. Okay, go ahead, DJ.
I'm not the one who suggested
That's true.
it.
That was his fault.
I was just asking a legitimate logistical question of how you would eat the sandwich.
No, I get that, but the
Insinuating
implications
anything.
the implications
Your
of your question are world ending here.
It really is a crime that we don't have the four of us doing more shows together. Seriously, go ahead,
I
DJ.
miss Brandon. I haven't been on After Dark in a while.
It actually might be a crime that we are doing shows with the four of us. But anyway, go ahead, DJ.
I just did one.
Someone is going to have to represent us for that crime, even if they
Don't believe us to be
even if
guilty.
they believe us to be guilty. Yeah.
We answered all of these. Rainbow Nightmare. We haven't asked one from him yet. So
Hi.
he says, "Would you rather watch?" Ooh, speaking of hot takes.
Uh-oh, hot dog takes.
Would you rather watch The Last Jedi 3 times over and do a written analysis of it, or 120% Arkham Knight on hard mode and do a written analysis on that?
I'm taking Last Jedi on this, even though I would hate to have to do that.
Really?
Yeah.
You're surprising me here. Don't you love that? The other?
So Arkham Knight, I don't think I would be capable of 120%ing. Like
It would take him his whole life.
Yeah, it's all I'd be doing. I can't do the Riddler trophies in that game, man. Like, but also, if all we were talking about was the stories of those games, where I didn't have to like worry about playing all the side missions and everything, and it was just like watch a movie version of the story or whatever, I probably would take Arkham Knight over Last Jedi. They're both really convoluted, and the stories don't work in either of them. But I think Arkham Knight maybe actually holds together even a little bit better than Last Jedi does, and that's weird to say because like neither of them work. But with just the situation he brought out, like I could physically do Last Jedi.
Yeah, but wouldn't you? I would assume that eventually you'd get better at video games. So the end result is, I don't think it would take you your whole life. I think it would take a while longer. But would you, if you got better at it and were able to do that eventually, what would you rather at that point?
I would still do Last Jedi.
Okay.
Because it just wouldn't take as long.
It would still take longer
Fair.
than watching a movie 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, fair.
That would just take forever. And like, there's like Arkham Knight in visual and gameplay wise is the best of the 3, I think. But I also, a lot of it is I wouldn't want to have to spend that much time in the tank because I just hate those parts. What would you do, Dan?
I would do Last Jedi because I am a big Star Wars fan and I would have a lot to say about the movie. I've considered actually doing a video on The Last Jedi before because I think the dialogue around that movie is so dumb on both sides of the equation, in my opinion, not to insult anyone that likes or dislikes it for any particular reasons. I just I dislike and like things about that movie for different reasons than most people seem to. So I have thought about doing that video before. So that's because I've actually considered doing that. I would pick the Last Jedi one. The Arkham Knight, I played through that game once and never felt the need to go back to it again or do all the side missions because I liked it way less than even Arkham Origins. So that wouldn't be as fun for me.
Now, I will say that a lot of the things that Dan would probably consider putting into that video, he has said off the cuff in a commentary that we did. So, like, if you're curious about Dan's thoughts on that movie, he and I do have a commentary on that film.
Yeah, we do. That was a good time.
It was. No, I actually really enjoyed doing that. I mean, I'm not trying to discourage you. If you want to make a video on that movie, feel free. I'm just saying, if people want to hear your thoughts, you have them out there.
Discourage me. I was just saying we did a good commentary. It was fun.
And I actually would do, if you ever wanted to, Dan, I'm not in a hurry or nothing, but like if you ever wanted to do what's that movie?
Exactly, that's the movie. What
is that movie? Nope. Something Skywalker, Rise of Skywalker? I couldn't even think of it for a second. That movie's hilarious. Like I would totally do that with you just because it's so bizarre.
Yeah, Rise of Skywalker it's one of the worst things I've ever, like, it's way worse than Last Jedi in my opinion. So it would be fun to roast that movie.
Like, I'm just saying, I'd do it. Like,
yeah.
Some of the most fun I've ever had is just watching my wife not begin to be able to take that movie seriously. Like, it was really funny when we watched that together. And then the best thing is, a month later, she didn't think she'd seen it.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, then.
That movie, like,
that memorable, huh?
Wastes no time doing nothing. It's quite the film.
Yeah. Anyway, I couldn't even remember the name of that movie, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. I wish I could forget it.
We did a commentary last week, Brandon and I in Austin, on The Last Starfighter, and we were talking about all the things that it borrows and steals from Star Wars, and how weird it is that then later on you have a movie called The Last Jedi, because it's like, yeah, The Last Starfighter, which was ripping off Star Wars, and then you have one of your 9 Star Wars numbered movies. uses that title. And I just think that's hilarious.
I could see Ryan Johnson giggling to himself at his like very old typewriter, like, I'm gonna call it The Last Jedi. And, you know, like doing it as like we're subverting expectations thing or something.
I didn't realize he was Krusty the Clown.
You need to see the director in the Jedi, because he laughs.
I still
like
haven't
a
done
maniac.
that.
It's awesome. Like, that's the way he laughs. He's like, it's insane.
God, what we need to do, Dan, is we need to do an edit of that scene at the end of Batman '89 where Joker dies and he's got the laughing bag, and then put Ryan Johnson's laugh in the laughing bag.
Somebody beat you to the punch, kind of, because they've done that with the scene from the Joker movie where Joaquin Phoenix does his really fake laugh while he's walking in the hallway and then immediately like drops the act. And they put
wow, and they did it with Ryan Johnson's laugh? How did somebody with a Joker thing? Like,
yeah.
Wow. He stole my balloons! Anyway.
No, it's that iconic. There's one of my favorite scenes in the Director and the Jedi is
I gotta watch
the costume designer that they hired to work on that movie. You know, Ryan Johnson's like, he had described like what Rose Tico is as a character, and he drew all these character designs and stuff. And he's like, yeah, to make the costume that you want look good on film, you're gonna have to cast someone who's really tall, just because of the way that you want it to look. And he's like, I plan to cast the shortest person possible. And the costume designer is like, fudge you, dude.
Wow.
He just gives him the evil eye. It's awesome.
Why does he have a supervillain laugh? And like a really crappy one. He's like, I'm gonna cast
I call him the Giggler. That's my name for him.
The Giggler. I love it.
Amazing.
I mean, I'm just imagining a villain that's like, you know, today New York, tomorrow the world. That's amazing. Anyway,
Yeah.
I didn't know that he laughed like that.
No, watch the director.
And I know folks like some of his movies. I think he's legitimately a good director. I just don't think that's a good movie. But
You should watch that Director in the Jedi documentary. There's a point where he has like a mental breakdown on the set because the opening of the movie doesn't work, and he's like, I have to rewrite the whole opening, but we've already filmed it and we have no money left. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The opening of that movie is terrible.
you know what? I've got, and like I agree with you, and I know not everybody's with us on this, but I have more respect for the guy than I did before. If he's like going to a screening and crying to himself that opening doesn't work, like I feel a little bit better about him after. At least he knows that.
It's not a screening. He does it like on the set while they're filming.
That's not what I mean. I'm just saying that if he ever had to see that movie in the theater after they made it, and he's inwardly going, God, this opening, like I feel better about it, knowing that he knows that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
By the time he got to the release, he also denied that there was anything wrong with the movie and would like fight people on Twitter about it. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe his opinion changed. Who knows?
Well, respect is a strong word. Anyway,
yeah, we have two super chats. John Ty, $5. Would you rather retcon Hank Pym hitting his wife, or Cyclops cheating on Jean Grey with Emma Frost?
Hey, those are great, Dan. Would you field that first?
I would retcon the Hank Pym thing because I like Scott and Emma's relationship a lot. I love Grant Morrison's run on the X-Men in general, and I more interesting character than Jean Grey, so I wouldn't get rid of that.
Yeah,
that's a big toss-up for me.
I heard it here first, folks. Dan says if she's more interesting, cheating is okay. Just kidding.
Well, I mean, no, not really, but like, I also think like that is the way that Cyclops
Dan's a pragmatist, okay?
No, I see what you're saying. Like, it feels like Hank Pym's character has been ruined by that in a way that Cyclops hasn't.
Yeah. And the way that Cyclops is kind of caught in Morrison's run, it's like in a trippy mindscape. Like, he's like thinking about it. And Jean, because she's a psychic, like walks in on him and she's like, you know, what Scott, you're like attracted to this woman, so like, you know, he's still kind of loyal to her.
They're not exactly equivalent things.
Yeah,
is what you're saying, right? Because like the Hank Pym thing, I think that's kind of objectively worse.
Yeah, Yeah.
You know, because like he actually physically hurt his wife, and Scott didn't entirely mean to do what he did. But even if he did, you know, we could debate about which thing is worse, like abusing your significant other or cheating on them. And I think most of us would agree on which of those things is worse. Probably. Especially if it was repeated, and I don't think with Hank Pym it was. I think it was that one time. So I mean, I don't know.
And as bad as it is, it's the one interesting thing ever done with Ant-Man.
Well, I was going to say, like, I like morally ambiguous Hank Pym, and in some ways he's a more interesting character after that happens, because we do tend to tell a lot of stories about how he is, in some ways he turns into kind of a necessary evil for the Marvel Universe, but, like, he's not all bad or anything, but just, you know, I've always liked the moral ambiguity with that character, so... I don't know. Like, I think I would I'm with you, Dad. I would almost want to keep that just because it makes him more interesting. Even though it also throws him under the bus, but I don't have a lot of investment in Ant-Man as a character, so...
But if we take that away, we may actually have gotten a real Ant-Man movie. Instead of them having to use Scott Lang and making the Ant-Man movie they did.
Do you think the main reason they did Scott Lang was just so that they weren't... Like, they were worried they'd be saddled with that? Or, like, if they made him the protagonist, they'd have to deal with that? Like... Because, I mean, he's still there, and he's still somewhat moral ambiguous. They just don't take it far enough. They don't take anything like far enough.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It could still go either way, I guess. They could still want to do the legacy thing, but... It might have had something to do with why they wanted to stay away from that character being the center of the film. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Look, DJ, I know you're still crushed that movie was the way it was. You don't have to sugarcoat it, okay?
Only because the stuff that they did with Hank Pym was so much more interesting. Like, they made him interesting in that movie, and I would have loved that movie.
Yep, I agree.
I'm with you. It still didn't go far enough, but I'm with you.
Plus, it's like, you know, it's hard to be more interesting than Michael Douglas, you know.
Well, yeah.
He's a really good actor, and like, I don't hate Paul Rudd or anything, but like, you know, it's Michael Douglas.
It's apples and oranges, really.
Well,
Yeah,
Dan,
exactly.
Dan, how much do those movies like really rely on and coast on like veteran actors lifting up the material? I mean, that definitely happens some.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's what's happening with the Flash movie. I mean, Michael Keaton in interview says he doesn't know what's happening in it, and I'm like, oh, that's the best way to get a performance of your actor. He has no idea what's happening.
Right. But I mean, they'll do things like, sticking with Ant-Man, like, let's get Michelle Pfeiffer, which is perfect casting, and do nothing with her at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, But then you have situations like Winter Soldier where the material was almost as good or as good as, you know, the veteran actor that you cast, and you're like, okay, yay, like these things, but we're not getting those anymore.
No more.
Anyway, okay, do we have any more super chats, DJ? Because we're about at time.
We do. We have one more from the Ben Script Super again.
Perfect.
In for another one. Ben says $5.
Thanks so much.
Would you rather see a third Nolan Batman film with Heath Ledger's Joker, or see a proper Richard Donner Superman 2 entirely shot by Donner?
Ooh, that's wonderful. And I like ending on this question. That's great. So a better third Nolan movie that would have you know, kind of answered all the promises with Joker and not been, in my opinion, kind of a major misstep, or a proper Donner cut. Boy. I think the thing for me is I still like Lester's Superman 2 well enough. And I was so devastated by Rises. Like, I think I have to go with that. I think I have to go with Nolan making a better movie.
I would go with Superman 2, because there's a lot of stuff I like about Dark Knight Rises, especially the fact that Bane is awesome and hilarious in it at the same time, so I wouldn't want to lose him. So I'll go with Superman 2. And I like those original Superman movies quite a bit, so I feel like that would be cool to see.
I'd rather see a different version of the Superman movie.
Yeah, I would also go with Superman 2.
Well, that's fine.
So you're the contrarian this time.
Yeah, but I know a lot
But
of
it's
people
okay
in the
'cause
comments
it's his
agree
show.
with me.
I just I like Dark Knight significantly less than Batman Begins, so that was already going in a direction
Fair
that
enough.
I didn't like.
Fair
but
enough.
I love Superman, and I think Superman 2 completely directed by him. And if it was like a 2-part thing, like you wanted to do, where the ending of Superman 1 wasn't weird, then that would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is it kind of has to not just be like Superman 2 fully directed by Donner, but Superman 1 has to also be different. Because for it to be fully his vision, I mean that is one movie, essentially.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That's the
And
ideal.
they compromised the ending of that by giving it the ending that was supposed to go to Superman 2. At the end of the day, I don't think either of those should have ended with the world being spun back. Imagine if it had happened in 2, and then you wipe away both movies. Like, wow, we just sat here for 4.5 hours. What's going on?
Well, I would rather see neither. Never
But I
mind.
still love him. I ruined it. I ruined it for DJ.
Well, we got one more, and it's appropriate
Okay,
that it's
cool.
ending on this one. It's $5 super chat from Here's $5.
Oh, welcome back. Here's $5. Thanks so very much.
He says, and he's honoring the rules of the day. Would you rather help write a good DCEU film and fix that universe, or team up with Sony and do some good? Here's $5.
That's a really good question. I just care a lot more about DC and what they're doing. That like the thing is, like, I would have to pick DC because the Sony universe shouldn't be a universe. It just shouldn't exist, you know? Like, they should have Spider-Man in the MCU and be allowed to use any of the characters with Spider-Man they want to use in the MCU. I mean, one of the things, even before you got to No Way Home, which none of us was real happy with, an understatement for Dan and DJ, but even before that, with the characters that they were kind of holding on to for the Sony shared universe kind of nonsense, they were really limited with what they were allowed to do on the MCU side, and that's kind of frustrating. If the sky was the limit with all that, I mean, because I love Venom, and I wanted us to get there at some point in the MCU, and that can't happen now.
But like Amy Pascal said, Cap, with the multiverse, your movies don't have to make sense anymore, so anything's possible. You know, he could be in the MCU.
Oh, well, that's good. Okay, so they're going with the Kurtzman school of storytelling,
Yeah,
which is their anti-continuity as a concept.
Anti-sense.
Yeah, do you know that? Kurtzman went on record at some point. His excuse for, not just retconning, but just like straight up nothing making sense with anything that came before with Star Trek is he doesn't agree with the notion of continuity as a concept.
what?
I don't understand that at all. You told me that, and I'm just like, what?
It's amazing. Like,
It's
I've never heard anybody say anything so preposterous.
What a moron!
That is so bat-ass crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
And the thing is, even if it just smells so BS to me too, because it's like, okay, so you're gonna have your cake and eat it too, to the point where you want all your shows to be. And I realize Strange New Worlds is allegedly not like this, but everything before that, all of our shows are gonna be like one long, in every case, boring story that's like, a 2-hour movie stretched to 10 or 12 episodes or whatever. But in between each of those episodes, it doesn't even matter if they fit with what happened in your own. Never mind Star Trek from before that. Just like episode to episode, we can't keep track of our own continuity. Oh, because continuity doesn't matter. Well, then just tell episodic stories.
right.
And then each episode
exactly.
doesn't have to match up that much because you just have like a basic series Bible and then you tell some stories. Like, he could have that attitude about it and just tell stories that aren't affected at all by anything that's happened
It'd
before.
probably be better Star Trek.
Which is what Star Trek kind of used to be in the
Right.
first place. What are you doing? So anyway, it sounds like Amy Pascal feels the same way about continuity. Yay, we have a device so things don't have to make sense.
I would probably go with Sony myself, because as weird as the situation is with the MCU, I care about the characters that they have in their repertoire more than any of the DC characters.
Oh, that's fair.
And I think that I would use the opportunity to make real movies that contrast with the MCU and not just make low-rent, terrible pump and dump money laundering schemes, probably. I would like actually put effort into making movies about these characters as villains, and I would do movies about the characters people care about. Like I do a Green Goblin movie, I do a Dr. Octopus movie, all those kind of things. Like I think you can do that. They just can't be superhero formulaic movies. You'd have to have the main character of the movie like have a tragic fall from grace, like Norman Osborn or something. Like that could be a great movie, but like, you know, if they were ever to do one, they'd turn him into like a dumb anti-hero, like they did with Venom and Morbius, and what they're going to do with Kraven, and what they're going to do with El Muerto, and you know, all of these villains.
We haven't even talked about that whole thing.
All into basically edgelord superheroes. But I don't know. I would take over Sony because they at least. I think they need the help more than DC does, personally, as well.
Okay, but I would do it very differently from you, Dan. I would take him over, and I would shut that whole thing down, and then I would apply for a job at DC.
See,
I just don't like the stupid like Spider-Man shared universe without Spider-Man thing. I can't get behind that premise in the first place. So you're right. We could tell some good stories with those characters even if they're not allowed to be with Spider-Man. I'm totally with you. I just hate that so much as a starting point. Like,
so you're in charge of Sony. Just end the Marvel deal and make better movies than Marvel that are standalone Spider-Man films.
Well, sure.
Like the Raimi movies.
Also, if I am stuck doing solo character movies without Spider-Man, the first thing I do is a Black Cat movie.
Yep.
Like, it's so obvious. You have a vigilante character there that can kind of straddle the fence and just is an anti-hero in the first place. You don't have to turn her into one.
Can you believe that Madam Web is coming before Black Cat?
It's insane.
I mean, it's insane.
Well, and like I realized she was supposed to be in a movie because they were going to do the stupid Silver and Black thing, which Silver Sable and Black Cat. It's so dumb. But like, why didn't you just start with a Black Cat movie?
Yeah,
even if you had to
love
do
Black
Venom
Cat.
first,
She's
why
one of
wouldn't?
my favorite Marvel characters too. I would love to do a movie with her.
Well, I think she easily could be in a movie by herself. Like,
yeah. I agree.
And honestly, I always thought Catwoman could have too. And like, obviously, we saw the nonsense that came out of that back in the early 2000s. But and I realized that like Black Cat looks in some ways like kind of a knockoff of Catwoman. But both of those are characters that easily could be in their own solo films that don't necessarily have to cross over with anything. I mean, you could come up with a cool story with her.
Yeah, I think you could come up with great stories with all of the characters that Sony has, potentially.
Some are harder than others. Like, let's do the solo Rhino movie.
Just do the 90s.
Even then, like, Rhino it has some great stories in the comics that really delve into his character. I think you could do something with that, you know?
Yeah, there's a great episode in the 60s show where he swims underwater really fast.
Yeah.
Hagen Spear Cap, don't you say you can make anything work? Yeah, you can. Just some things are harder than others.
Yeah. So yeah, that would be my pick. Just because like the state that Spider-Man is in really hurts my feelings, and it I don't know. It's sad.
It is.
It is. If you want to listen to a whole video of me and Dan talking about this, we just did a ranking of our Spider-Man films.
We did.
I put that up this morning, and it's already getting a lot of feedback. But yeah, we talked for like an hour and 45 minutes, probably way too long. So hopefully it's not too long-winded. But that was fun, Dan. I'm glad I'm getting to talk to you again in less than a week. So
yeah, no, same. I had a great time making that video, and we'll have to do it again soon. That was really fun.
Well, we won't rank those again.
Yeah, exactly.
It ain't gonna change in a week. Like, yeah, what's up?
Can I ask you a question?
No.
No? Would you rather be a Powerpuff Girl or a Power Ranger?
I guess I'm gonna go with Power Ranger.
Yeah.
Just because you'd have I guess I guess this is always my answer to this kind of thing, but like you'd have more of your own like potentially fully fleshed out three-dimensional personality. I mean, there are a lot of Power Rangers that don't have that, of course, but what I mean is with Powerpuff Girls, like you put the three of them together and they're an entity.
Yeah.
You know, like the three of them kind of together make up a whole person. And a Power Ranger has at least the potential to be a whole person all by himself. So that's probably
Got you.
That's probably the main reason I would do that. And also, I'm already short. I would just be so much shorter.
You don't want to be any shorter.
That's okay. I wouldn't mind being cute and bubbly. Bubbles is great. I mean, I would have to get to pick my Powerpuff Girl if I was going to be.
So that was
Girl,
so the original question was slightly different, but then the secondary question was you could pick which one of which.
Yeah.
So like either Tommy or Bubbles.
Yeah, if I'm if I'm a Power Ranger, I'm Jason, easy, but that's Gold Ranger, but
There you go.
because it's all about the Gold Ranger.
It's got it right on tap.
Oh yeah,
And on his arm.
it's always right here. Yeah.
Arms reach.
No, I mean
always.
it's all about the Gold Ranger, you guys. Like,
It's permanent.
I still think you
It's
should have got that
set in-
tattoo on your face where it is on his mask.
I agree. You could be like the Jared Leto of Power Rangers fans. It'd be awesome.
I can't even bring up the tattoo thing without some, including my wife. Like, when are you gonna get one on your forehead? It's like every time.
Well, even I've mentioned the whole Chicote thing
Yeah.
jokingly.
Yeah, exactly. Remember when Q was like, facial art? Mine's bigger!
I do remember that.
I'm getting another tattoo on Tuesday.
Nice.
The tick one
Wow.
that Tom asked for, because we did a show
Wait,
where
Tom asked you to get a tattoo.
That's right. Tom will forever
no.
have
So
the...
the top. So I did a show, Dan, where the top super chatter got to pick from a list of things that
okay,
I wanted to get a
good.
tattoo of, and Tom was the top super chatter that night, so she got to pick from a list.
Okay. I thought like Tom designed your tattoo or something.
No, it's nothing like that.
That's-
No, he didn't even get to
Okay.
pick the design, and I didn't have a design in mind. It was you just got to pick the property.
True that.
But I'll send you a picture of it later. I'm getting a sketch that Ben Edlund did at a con.
Oh, nice.
Wow, that's cool.
I'm starting to get more into like art from actual comic artists because I think that's kind of cool.
That is cool. Yeah, for sure.
So the Bubbles as Mojo Jojo that I have is a Philip Moy piece from 2002, and I mentioned this before, but I also think that he did it at a convention, and I found him on Facebook and sent him a picture of my tattoo, and he thought it was really cool that I did that. He goes, "Oh, you're like a real fan." That was pretty great.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And I've met him before. But anyway, well, I think that's going to do it for us, folks. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. Dan, thanks for being here, man.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me. It was good to see you guys.
It was
Nice
good to see you. Yeah, getting the Four Horsemen back together. We had a lot of really great eclectic questions tonight with the Would You Rather thing, and we'll do this again sometime in the future. Like I said, sort of yearly. I think we'll do this again next year, or if we just have a week where we don't have anything better to do, we might do this again this year. But every so often, I like to do these shows.
Yeah.
I'm
It
glad
went really great. It was great tonight.
it was. Anyway, so everybody, thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you again next time. Tomorrow night, I'm doing a drawing stream with Ty, my artist on Spawnville. He's going to be taking requests, so pop in for that. We're going to start a little bit earlier tomorrow night than we usually do on the Friday shows, because Austin can't be there, which is why we're doing a different thing, and we usually have to wait till 10 so he can be there. So tomorrow, we're going to start at 8 o'clock. We're going to go for a couple hours. And like I said, he's going to take requests. I'm going to be drawing some abstract stuff, so come and hang out with us. Yeah, I'm actually going to draw on camera. I've been getting back into drawing
about
lately.
to ask
Sorry
you,
about that.
you're a drawer?
I mean, it's not any good, but I'm doing it, and it's fun.
That's why it's abstract.
Cap, you have now danced on a live stream, and you've drawn on or will draw on a live stream.
Yeah.
We have to do that Green Ranger Kata video from the Power Rangers
I knew
90s
you were going to
we-
say that.
that we plan to do in Morphin Mania, because that would be hilarious.
Yeah, no, I still want to do that. Anyway, so I hope to see some of you guys tomorrow night, and then Sunday, I'm still planning on, if I can get to it this weekend, I'm hoping to see it Saturday, doing a review of Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Is that the name of that movie? I'm gonna try to see that Saturday. I'm gonna try to do a review of that Sunday with Austin and whoever else in our community has seen it and wants to talk about it. And then I'm taking next week off. So those are some shows this weekend, and then nothing next week, and then we'll be back to regularly scheduled programming the week after that. And I want to say the week after that we have Doctor Strange. Yeah, so I think we're gonna come right back in and have to do that. So anyway, so big stuff
Doctor
happening.
Strange this weekend?
No, it's next. I think it's next week. It's like the 6th, I think.
I thought it was the end of April, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, it's the. I thought that for a long time too. I think May 6th. I think it's the first weekend of May. So I may actually have to come back with that on my last day that I thought was going to be my day off. I have to look at the calendar. I think I'm right that I'm actually going to have to maybe do that Sunday, or maybe I'll just wait a week and do it the week after. But
Yeah, you're right about Doctor Strange. It does come out May 6th. Faux show.
anyway, so thanks again, folks, and we'll see you again next time. I was Captain Logan. That was Brandon Graham.
It was me, as usual.
And we had Dan Torrey.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
And as always, my wonderful chat moderator, DJ Martinez.
See you guys.
He's just waving. Bye, guys.
Hey.